There you go. Hello, everybody. We're gonna start soon. We gotta. That's why he does it. I think you're still muted. Actually, let me unmute you here.
There we go.
There we go.
We're both having a hair day.
Yep, it's got pretty wild back. I brushed it, and that makes it do this.
Oh,
that's a
my
look.
God.
Holy shit! Look at that broccoli head. Yeah. That's so fucking skibbity, bro.
That's like.
Oh.
That's
Hey,
like you're
Christian,
trying
it's
to copy.
skibbity.
That's like you're trying to copy Abby and failing terribly.
I'm in pain whenever you say it. That hurts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
My
Alright, suddenly I don't feel so bad about my in-between length anymore.
nope. That's just gonna have to all go back there, huh? All right. Man,
I was saying that I'm really jealous of your hairline as somebody who is getting disseminated by the age. Their hair. I'm getting attacked.
Comes for all of us except for me, bro.
That European gene is like, he was like, oh, you thought you got me. Now I'm back.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
in my ass.
Anyone listen to this dump truck yet? Looks like it's a good one.
I listened to it. It's a.
Oh, I can't wait.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Bro, I was so close. Yeah, my uncle has like this beautiful, like foxy, like gray hair, beautiful. All my uncles, and me, I'm like dying. What's going on? What's up with that?
Are you George Costanza up there?
Not that hard.
Okay.
Not that bad.
It's noticeable.
How do you change?
Eventually, I'm gonna shoot. Fuck it. I wanna
Sure.
go bow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Not
what
bold,
Mike
but-
does, right? Well, no, he's not quite there yet. Dan does. That's what Dan does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bust it.
Like, why can't I not picture this man in my head when he's not
Maybe go
in
full
Discord yelling
military.
at me?
Haircut.
Is that lined up? That's like roughly lined up. Yeah. Okay, I'll share his to you then.
All right.
Or what if we all go to Turkey? I don't know, everybody on chat. and
Turkey
we
boys.
Yeah. What if we did
get
that?
The transplant. Get that hurt.
All right. Get that her.
Put that there.
Her.
All right. Looking pretty good.
I'm ready. I was born ready.
Do you guys not recognize the soundtrack?
Not immediately.
Come on.
So-
I thought you guys were fighting game fans.
What is it?
This game features digitized graphics from the hit movie. Come on.
Oh, what?
Is this
Like Street Fighter the movie?
Street Fighter the movie, the game.
Oh my god.
That soundtrack's
You
not bad.
absolute
It's
crazy
not
I
bad.
actually played that game.
The game's fine. It's
That
just Street
sounds-
Fighter. It's just Street Fighter 2, right? I mean,
Yeah, is it DJ ass tits? You need to tell us.
yeah, DJ
it's-
ass tits.
Yeah. Sean, you want to talk about 2SKO, like when you're talking about the BJ games we were playing?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about because that's like all I actually
All
played.
right, I play that game too, so
Okay.
Oh, nice.
we can
All you
check it
guys,
out.
all you guys go ham on that. I'm gonna spend all
Thank
my
you,
time talking
Ryan.
about Concord. Man,
Bro,
I got it downloaded. That's what I can say about it.
I think I do too,
Bruh.
actually.
is it funny that me, the Concord defender, didn't knew that the game came out?
Yeah, it's a problem for
That's
that game,
pretty
I
funny.
think. This Kimbot looks just like Ratchet and Clank, right?
It came
Yeah.
out right on the.
It plays pretty close to it too. That's
came
one of those
right when
Steam
the-
demos
the-
that I played.
Yeah, I might download this demo. I was thinking about downloading the demo, but I think the game because I was like,
fun.
should I take that for my last spot in Fantasy Critics? It's from the Pumpkin Jack guy, and that was
Yeah.
like in the 70s. I'm like, but at this point, it might be like 79. Might be like good at this point.
Right.
for
Yeah, I'm
Fantasy
looking to
Critic.
fill out those last few spots too.
Yeah, I think I'll go for a Kimbot. Okay, let's see here. I think we're about ready to start, everybody. Let me take one last look. Let me tweet.
Don't release shooters when Tarkov is wiping.
Okay.
That's it. Nobody's gonna play the game. It's just a shooter.
Listen, I don't care what it does in the bathroom. It's none of my business.
Whoa, wait, hey now.
Okay.
That was.
we got a good.
I wanted to say don't pull a Randy Pitchford. No, that was Dr. Disrespect.
That's
I'm
Dr.
getting my-
Disrespect, yeah.
get my
Yeah,
weird
they're all in the
mixed
same
up.
bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pissy.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
What's Randy gonna
we
do?
gotta
Revoke
get
Borderlands
Super
4
Chat.
access?
Yeah.
We'll get a good super chat. We're gonna get to those.
All right, Chris Pratt.
Eventually.
Super chats are always good super chats.
Ah. They're all beautiful. So I love all my super chats to equal. Okay, don't get it twisted.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right.
You guys ready?
Ready? Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Let me just check this line. I think my mic might be a little hot. It's bothering me. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to bring us in. There's that. I don't think we actually tested the music. You guys can hear that, though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
A
it's
little,
low.
little quiet. Turning it up for you.
Yep.
Turning it up for them. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3. The internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb, and with me is...
Sean McDowell.
In today's episode, Indy is heading to the PS5 after all, more news out of Gamescom, and we have a game for the second segment. I have no idea what it is, but Beefhammer apparently put it together, so looking forward to that.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good, but first, Sean McDowell, how are you doing?
I'm tired, Jeff.
Yeah, me too.
It's been one of those long weeks.
Yeah, a long week. Yeah, when everyone's gone, when the whole team is kind of traveling, it kind of always just falls on us, or mostly just you. And we've been kind of figuring it out. It's been fun, but it's been a lot. I'm like, okay, with school starting the same week, that's keeping me very busy over here.
Yeah, because it's been like me, you, and Nikki for the most part over on Giant Bomb. So
Yeah, and I was
we've just
like-
all been pretty busy.
And I was like, some of these scary games, I'll get Backlor on. Maybe I'll have him cover. And he's like, no, I'm out Thursday and Friday. So it's like we can't even get him to come in. So we'll have Emma come in tomorrow, help us out a little bit, keep the energy
That'll be
out.
fun.
It'll be good, yeah. But I'm having a good time, like I said, and we did do August, and it's I think
Yeah.
we didn't get to do a ton of stuff with that, but the things we have done, I've enjoyed so far. But yeah, I'm also like looking around at games that I wish I had started, like Black Myth Wukong. I have not even touched that game yet. I want to like have an opinion on it. Everyone else seems to. I want to be part of the zeitgeist before it passes, which I think it might for this game pretty quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, people seem slightly lukewarm on it because when you're yet another Souls game or even yet another action game, which it seems it might be leaning towards at this point, maybe that's not good enough to stay in the conversation for very long.
Yeah, and it's
anymore.
like right. And I mean, hey, a solid one of those, I'll take it, no complaints. But
could still be a fantastic game,
right,
but...
and one that could be tremendously successful, which it is. But in terms of feeling the need and the pressure to play it, for me, it feels like it's going to pass pretty quick. But like I said on the Tin Dogs earlier this week, I'm playing that preview of Plucky Squire. I am playing a Star Wars Outlaws for review-ish for the podcast, for the Bombcast and stuff like that. So that's keeping me busy whenever I get a chance. There's some other stuff. I'm doing Yars Rising. I'll be able to talk about that pretty soon. It's just kind of nonstop stuff that's like still coming up, and yet at the same time busy making stuff for the site. So yeah, I'm a little tired, but feeling good. Like it's a good tired. Like we're a good busy, I think, when stuff like this happens. And the good news is, like the stuff that the people are doing from Germany, the whole team over there is crushing it. So
it's been so, yeah. If you want your weekly fix of Mike Minotti, go listen to that Bombcast that they did. It's real good.
Yes, it's real
English.
good.
English.
I am very much enjoying hearing that people at Gamescom in Germany, when they see him, are yelling English at him. I'm gonna do that from now on. That's really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's thank everybody for joining us. Give us a good rating wherever you are listening. Hit that like button on YouTube. It helps people find the show. If you want to ask a question, you can drop a super chat during this program here on YouTube. We'll get to all of them before the end. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. Thanks to 1UP vs. CPU for our artwork. You can find more at 1UpVersusCPU.com. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever pods are caught. Thank you to the mods. Thanks to Christian for producing, and you can get more from Mike and me and support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you access to our Discord server, participation in Q&A sessions and our Game Club discussions, early access to new episodes of Game Mess Jeopardy and Columbros, and of course, all of our shows ad-free. Friendly reminder, you can also become a supporter by becoming a YouTube member or a Twitch subscriber. So feel free to use those Prime subs on Mike's channel, or whenever I'm streaming, you can do that as well. That gets you.
You snuck a couple in there recently, right?
Yeah. I was trying to do a little bit more frequently, and then of course, like I mentioned, school started, and that kind of throwing the whole thing off. But I'm gonna get back in there, stream a little bit more when I can.
All right. And then, of course, Mike's in there streaming every other day, pretty much.
He's got nothing else going on. Let the man stream. All right. Big topics of the week. Let's just get into them. You ready for it?
Let's go for it.
Indiana Jones is what I've written here.
Bethesda,
yes, oh no, indeed. Although, in terms of previews, looking pretty good. Looking pretty, like, people seem to really be into what they've shown so far for this game. And sounds like something I'm going to be pretty into. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's see here. Bethesda revealed Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PlayStation 5 in spring 2025. After the initial Xbox and PC launch in December, on December 9th, the day after Mike's birthday. Xbox head Phil Spencer sees multi-platform release as beneficial for the brand's success. He did an in-house with Xbox interview where he sort of explained the thought process. The next line here: decision influenced by the success of Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves on PS5 and Nintendo Switch. We heard that Sea of Thieves has sold at least 1 million copies on PS5 already.
Right.
And that's it, right? That's the whole story, right?
Yeah. There's money to be had. They're making it, and so they're going to want to do more of making the money.
Yep. I think that when think about their strategy, the idea of growing Xbox to take market share from Sony is something that went out the window quite some time ago. And now it's like, I don't think they've fully settled on what the new strategy was going to be, because the new strategy was supposed to be cloud and Game Pass and all this other stuff that was like, and Game Pass is going to be everywhere. And they've begun not like fully undoing Game Pass, but certainly deprecating the most high marquee features of Game Pass in terms of everyone subscribes, everyone gets games day one. Mm-hmm. Like, they're pulling back slightly. They're still investing in it in a lot of ways, but they're pulling back slightly from that, because the real strategy now is Game Pass everywhere and sell games everywhere. And while that is going to be a little bit messy in the meantime, especially for people who are accustomed to thinking one way about consoles and games, Xbox has to move past that, because they've decided that fighting over the same pie with PlayStation is no longer viable for the amount of money that they spend on making games. And at a certain point, I can't blame them. It's weird. I get it. I feel weird about it too, but I'm also over it at the same time. Like, it's weird, but I'm over it. I think it's just the community is like coming to grips with it, and they're having a little bit of that, not to throw shade,
meltdowns,
a little bit of a tantrum. Yeah. And everyone has tantrums about stuff. I have tantrums about stuff all the time. I get it, but that's what it is. And they just have to sort of just push through it. They're going to have to let their fans have tantrums, right?
Yeah. First, real quick, does it feel weird to you? And I mean this sincerely, because you're a little bit older and you're just used to how, the console wars have been for the longest time?
Yes, 100%. I'm 41. We're very stuck in my ways in a lot of ways. The key demographic, right? The key demo is 18 to 35 for a reason. It's because people change their opinions in that zone. And then after that, they get very set in their ways. Now, I think I'm more malleable than a lot of other people that are in their 40s, but whatever. I'm still less malleable than I was. So the idea that, like, the way things have always worked is no longer, it's not just like changing a little bit. It feels very antiquated, this idea of these companies fighting over that piece of the pie. Like, consoles being the whole gaming world was the whole world to me for my entire life. And I think, like, looking back over the last 10 years now, I'm starting to realize the reason I went to PC last console generation in such a hard way, I told myself it was because, these consoles aren't too exciting to me and that they're underwhelming. But I think the real reason is, like, I can feel that the PC is just going to be there and be the thing that I need it to be for gaming. And
it's very agnostic. It's you aren't locked in like you are on console. It's very open in general. Even with DRM platforms like Steam, you just have more control over your game experience on a PC, and it can be what you want it to be. And so if things change, like they are with Xbox consoles, is how people are looking at it right now, you don't feel blindsided.
Right.
Or with a change to Game Pass, you not getting what you were paying for anymore. Like I've mentioned, and we're gonna have a little doubling up if people have heard us talk about this elsewhere, of course.
Right.
So
That's
apologies
just how
on
it's
that.
gonna be,
But yeah, with my friends, like they stopped paying for Game Pass, at least stop auto renewing, and now are just gonna do it here and there as necessary because they aren't getting what they paid for. They paid for day one Xbox games in addition to all the third party and indie stuff that was coming over. Where you're not getting that anymore, well, they're like, all right, things have changed. I'm gonna move away from that. And I understand that being having a bigger impact on you when you buy this expensive console and you expect it to be a certain way. I wanted to bring up what you tweeted out the other day. Console buyers expect to be treated a certain way. I forget exactly how you put it.
They expect to feel special, and that's not just console buyers. That's anyone who buys anything. That's when you buy a car.
Right.
They tell you all the special features you have. Like if people have bought a car in the last forever, they'll tell you all the technology that's in there that you only get if you buy a car from this manufacturer. They want to make you feel special, and that's how we make purchases. And when you ask someone to spend a lot of money, $500, around $200, but anything in that range, you got to make the consumer feel special, unless you're a beige box PC, which people are like needed as a utility. This is a thing you can justify by saying, I'm going to do my taxes on this. I'm going to run my business on this. My kids are going to use it for their paper. The PC is in that space where it's a utility. The consoles are a luxury, and anything that's a luxury, you have to make the person feel special. And that means that we have a relationship with this company. Like this company needs to be working towards us. And that's the real reason I'm like, I am older now. I don't want to have a relationship with these companies, except for the one that has mostly put out the games I like, Nintendo. I do a Nintendo podcast. I'm going to keep having the relationship with that company, and they'll keep disappointing me in 15 million ways, like they always have.
Yes.
But I will let that one hurt me. I'm not in the mood to let Microsoft and Sony hurt me over and over again, if that's, whatever. So
right.
That's like where I'm coming from. And then the PC is just a thing that can just be there and be that utility, and then I can make it my own, not like have to worry about the company having an interest in dangling the keys in front of me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because when you're on PC, like both of us are, so that's the perspective we come from. We are very much PC and Nintendo first, and then everything else secondary. Yep. That's just how we play games. And you know what? It's gotten even easier to do so. Like I try to emphasize to people, PC gaming does not necessarily mean you sit here at your desk with your keyboard and your mouse and playing from a monitor. Big comfy chair back there. My lazy boy is back there for a reason. It's because right next to my computer here is a big old LG OLED TV. Yeah, and I want to play games.
My old gaming PC is plugged into that TV, and I just have it. I almost never use it with a keyboard and mouse unless I'm just booting it up.
Exactly.
Originally. Yeah.
I sit back there. I press Windows P on my keyboard to change the monitor to my TV. Fire up big picture mode. And I have my console style experience. I hit the
with Xbox my PC button as soon as I turn it on, and that turns on big picture mode. And
there you go. Yeah, you can automate it too. Yep. Yeah, and I know not everyone's going to want to do that.
Of course not.
But
and I don't think the consoles are going away either. That's not what I'm saying. Even for Xbox.
I'll definitely get to that. I'll definitely get to that too. But I think when it is, people want to complain. People want to say, why isn't thing exactly the way I want it? And I say, well, okay, you're not going to get, your console isn't going to put out, let's say, graphics, 4K, 120 FPS. You're at the maximum things. You're not getting that. It's a console. Compromise is in the picture. And if you want to go beyond those compromises, then that's when you go to PC. You have to accept what a console is. And that's what that relationship right there is all about. It's all about that company taking care of that console gamer in the way that they want to be taken care of. So it annoys me a little bit when there are alternatives and people want to complain but not seek out the alternative. It's like, well, you as the consumer do have to take a little bit of responsibility here. Like maybe we'll talk about some real meltdowns people are having. We're kind of jabbing about it, but like some people are like, Xbox is done. Xbox is over as a brand after all this. That's just simply not the case. Like you're still gonna have a console. You're still gonna have this box that is their way to deliver Game Pass to you, right? That's not going away anytime soon because that's not over on PlayStation. It's not on the Switch. They are still going to have that box that delivers Game Pass to you. That's still part of their business. You can still buy games on that. That isn't going away because they're playing Indiana Jones over on PS5 several months later. Like, they are trying to have their cake and eat it too. They are trying to put it out there so that if you really want this game, you want to have it, they can't say cheap, but they say accessible. Yeah, low barrier to entry with Game Pass. If that's what you want, then yeah, you buy an Xbox thing. Like this conversation has been leaning towards. We do that on PC. Console gamers can do it on their Xbox consoles. And these super casuals, maybe not right away because it's really rocky, they can do streaming. And if you want to have your PlayStation exclusives as well, and also get these games, you can buy for $70 later down the road over on your PlayStation. It kind of all works out for everybody. So that's why it feels a little silly to us that, hey, things are changing, but the compromise is still there. It's kind of all still working out for everyone. Just people can't get over the like Sonic versus Mario mentality. And we are so far past that now. Like I said, when we talked about this in Game S Mornings the other day, it's like a VCR or DVD player. Like, it's always been weird that consoles have been different in that way. And we're just moving more towards that where
and the gamers
things are a little more
way,
agnostic.
Right? We kind of like, we pushed it this way by demanding more and more. Now, does that happen actively? Do we say the companies have to do this? Do we control the companies that way? No, but it is the underlying market forces of what succeeds, what doesn't. And if you're one of these big companies that's, again, not Nintendo, because they did find a way to make a lot of very successful games on very limited budgets. I said, I think on when we talked on when it was Wednesday or whatever, Monday, it's the exception that proves the rule, because it just, no one else has figured it out. Only this one company is able to do this. So when Sony and Microsoft are like, how do we compete in the market? Well, we have to spend more to be able to stand out. And I always point to this letter Phil Spencer wrote about how he said, like, when it was just retail and they controlled what games got into GameStop and in Electronics Boutique and Funkoland before it, it was very easy to not spend as much money making games because you were one of the very few games on the shelf, and everyone else had to like kind of compete with your ability to get the attention of GameStop and get there on in the market. Now that it's digital and everyone can make a game, and any publisher can put out stuff that gets attention, and Black Myth Wukong can have 2 million players at one time, and obviously a lot of them are in China, but that's not like that money ain't green. That money's green just as much as anyone else's.
Is it?
Well, once they through the exchange rates, yeah, probably not actually. But once that money still spends, and so you can't ignore it. And this marketplace becomes very crowded. And then if you are one of these other companies that traditionally had that retail barrier, and now you're in the digital marketplace, the one way you can compete is by getting people's attention by spending more money than anyone else. And that's what they both did. It's what a lot of companies have done, but especially Microsoft and Sony, especially Sony, but they've had the sort of it paid off for them in a lot of ways. But these companies have to spend a lot of money to get that attention. And that necessarily leads us to where we are now with the decisions they have to make to justify everything they've done and everything they've spent. They have to put games out everywhere, or in more places, at least in the case of Sony. But I think we said this earlier this week as well. They are just not thinking about it in terms of Microsoft versus Sony anymore. They're not thinking about it in terms of who's got more market share. That market is settled. It doesn't matter anymore. It's the next market that matters, being able to grow in that space where maybe some of those people playing mobile games that are spending more money, that space is growing. How do we get some of that action? Will those people play some of the games that we're making? We think so, but we're also going to be investing in mobile games and all this other stuff. And they're just thinking about different fights than fighting over us. And that, once again, makes us feel less special as people who've grown up in that space, because it doesn't feel like they're fighting over us anymore, because they're not. Exactly.
Yeah. Gaming has sort of just grown exponentially bigger than that, which is ultimately a good thing. Right. But it's why, you have Fortnite and Call of Duty and the MiHoYo games and all these things that are massive, and they're massive because they're everywhere and they talk to each other regardless of what platform you're playing on. And so it's just both these companies have moved past needing to acquire new users by forcing you to buy their box through exclusivity, because both of them are seeing you can make more money when you spread things out. You still want to get people in your ecosystem by doing things a certain way, but you can branch out in very smart ways that does kind of feel like the best of both worlds. It's why we see Sony is putting their live service games on PC even day and date, we saw with Helldivers, because why limit things, and we will see with Concord here, why limit things to just a PlayStation audience when if you want to make a live service game, PC is the place to do it. And so having it come on both platforms, day and date, having those services talk to each other, and sure, giving a cut to Valve because of Steam, but guess what? So many more players are going to come on board because you put it where they want to play. And so you have the console players winning by being able to buy that game on their PlayStation. You have the PC players winning by being able to play on their platform. Friends can play together. Everyone wins. Same thing is happening with Microsoft now by putting their games elsewhere, because frankly, they have read the tea leaves. They aren't going to get people in their ecosystem with exclusives. They've tried so hard to make things, over and over, to lock things down. And it really hasn't been since maybe really it hasn't quite worked ever for them. Like the 360 was
for Xbox. Yeah, I mean, God,
360 was not big because of the exclusives.
That backfire of
PlayStation fumbled.
Was it Rise of one of the Tomb Raider games? That was such a huge backfire, and it was like
Rise of Tomb Raider on one.
Yeah, like what happened here? And it's just like people got mad, and I think they learned that lesson. And that set the stage for everything that happened afterwards, where it's like, okay, then I guess we got to make them ourselves, and that's really expensive. So we'll try that. And it's like in the process of making those, not even really releasing a lot of them. The ones that did release were often disappointing because they stopped spending money on them at a certain point, just put them out. That's the hard lessons learned, and here we are once again. I mean,
exactly. I think if that's not working for them, they needed to try something different, and they have found something different that works through a compromise.
And I think people are going to come into this episode, and shout outs to Christian for the very good headline, getting people to come in here and listen to this. I think a lot of people are going to come in here, and they're going to be coming from their, Xbox-centric podcast, their PlayStation-centric podcast, and they're going to be hearing over and over about how, Xbox is dead or whatever, and PlayStation's winning, and it's going to be like difficult to be like, this is a different conversation over here. This is the conversation, how it sounds at like what these companies are talking about, the way they're thinking. This is not the way the fans and the gamers are thinking. This is the way these companies are thinking. And it might be difficult to hear, but it's the reality. It is how it is. And I think that they've been trying to say it for a long time over there at Microsoft without fully saying it. And so they could take a lot of blame over there for not being able to communicate exactly what's been happening and trying to straddle the line. And I think Phil Spencer coming out this week and saying changes are going to keep happening. Things are going to keep changing. And he says in gaming as a whole, definitely at Xbox, but he's saying it in gaming as a whole because that's the truth. It's everyone's going to have to keep changing to figure out what's next for growth. And I think they are now ready to sort of be honest about what's going to happen next. And maybe that's Satya Nadella coming down and saying, you got to do more of this because I don't understand exclusives and you've never been able to satisfactorily explain to me why we need exclusives and why they make sense when you've shown me the results of previous exclusives. It never looks good. But at the very least, this is where they're at now. And all the things we just talked about are the reasons why. And there's just no getting around it. This is the way it is. Yeah. And if it makes you feel less special, again, I don't blame you. I feel that same thing inside. I'm over it, but I feel it still. I know it's there. So, what do you do if you're someone in that situation who you do listen to a lot of Xbox podcasts, you enjoy being in that ecosystem? Should you be worried? Games are going to keep coming out. A lot of great games are going to keep coming out. And you're going to be able to find ways to enjoy them. And if you focus on the games, and then you find like a comfortable way to play them, what else do you really need? And if the comfortable way to play them for you is buy an Xbox console, I think you're good on that for at least another 5 to 10 years. I don't think they're maybe they like sort of slowly like back into the bush like Homer Simpson at some point. But I think for now you're pretty safe on that stuff. So. Yeah, I don't know. Good luck, but you're going to be fine.
I do think, real quick, I want to squeeze in that I think that both companies are kind of reaping what they sowed in advance here, where both are having difficulties in their own way. Where PlayStation is, they made their name in recent years on these gigantic, pretty, trying to resemble TV video games, and they realized, oh, we can't do that when some of these only sell maybe like 5 million copies. That just isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
They need to be selling well over 10 million each, and not everyone's going to do that. That's why some of those single player games also come in PC. That's why things are different over there. With Xbox, maybe I'm going to be a little harsher here in how I say this, but I think they are kind of reaping tribalism that they've sort of spun up here.
Yeah,
because when they say, the Xbox family, the community, we care so much about you. I hate to tell y'all, no, they don't. Like, as a company, no, they don't. Like, there are good people working in that company who genuinely want to make awesome stuff for you and who are playing these games, and they want to make the ecosystem what they want, so that will be what you want. But as an entity, like Xbox/Microsoft doesn't care about you. So you need to be careful in how much you invest in this, like, emotionally. And I would also say financially, because like, we got a comment on that Game S Mornings episode we did where someone was like, oh, well, they're ignoring the digital library and the library that I've cultivated, and I'm scared of that going away. And I would like to point out to everyone, you don't own anything digitally.
Yeah.
I just want that. Like, if we're talking harsh realities here, you don't own a single thing you buy digitally. Like, you gotta, I know it's silly to say because none of us do it, but that's what's in that user agreement that you sign off on, the EULA, whatever it may be. You are getting a license there. You are renting a license there. And so that's why I'm always like, physical media, DRM-free digital. That's why those things are the future, or to me at least. DRM-free digital is absolutely the future if we can get there. Who knows if we will, like MP3s and whatnot did. But that's how you preserve games. And if you have cared about building a library, those are the two paths to do it. And so I get being scared, but also, again, like I said at the top of the conversation, responsibility as a consumer in all of this. You need to remember that these companies don't care about you on a personal level. Don't fall for the marketing. So when it comes to making decisions of where to buy your games, what you're going to buy, what ecosystem you get into, don't get emotionally invested, because
they're
look,
not.
Me and Jeff, we're Nintendo fans, dude. We know that's a dumb thing to do.
It's a dark path, yeah.
Yeah, get invested in the games, in the IPs you like, and more importantly, the human beings who make them. Yeah. But don't pledge your allegiance to one side or the other, because that's how you will get disappointed when things change like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way they exploit us, of course, but it's like, what's the linchpin that is holding your digital collection together? It is the interest of a corporation, and yes. You're emotionally invested in that stuff that you spent money on. You're financially invested, obviously, yeah. But they're financially invested in as far as it makes them money. And are they emotionally invested? It's a corporation. It doesn't have emotions. So as much as people working there might, and they do, and they put that stuff on stage on display, that's not what actually makes the whole thing go round. So the linchpin is a company's interest, and that's all about their ability to make money from it. And if the way that they make money shifts to something else, mm-hmm. the linchpin gets pulled and it falls down. That's 100% what led me to Steam, and Steam's not any different, other than the fact that I think it will it'll be around for a lot longer. I think, but
yeah, we do have a faith there, but at the same time, the beauty of PC is, frankly, piracy exists.
Right, exactly. So I'm not worried about not being able to access my games on PC, yes.
If a game isn't coming to GOG, where I prefer to buy things, if it isn't available directly through the developer, I play a lot of indies. Some of them are, even through things like itch.io. I tried to do that as much as possible. I do practice what I preach, but I know in the back of my head that PC is an open platform. So if things come to that in the future, that's where I'm going to go.
Right.
And again, it's faith, but it's why I've chosen to do things the way I do, because I want to support developers, and I stick with that library and everything like there. What's up?
I just remembered something. You'll be happy to hear this. I legit, 2 nights ago, had a nightmare about like the end of the world, and guess what I was most concerned about in this apocalypse? Being able to play video games and all my games going away. And I was like, I should collect more physical video games. It's like, literally, that's what the entire dream was about. It was fucking embarrassing, but yep.
I thought you might have been thinking about Steam account after we talked about, hey, we don't want to piss off Valve because we need that account, dude.
That's where my anxieties are. It's like, oh my God, my games would just go away. How would I get that stuff? And it's like, Dan got me the damn complete in box Waveray 64, and I keep eyeballing stuff, but I don't have the money to spend on that right now.
Like at the end of the day, your box ain't going anywhere.
No, yeah, exactly.
Let's say, and that's what I was trying to get to. I know it's a little rambly there, but what I was trying to get to here is 10, 15, 20 years down the road, if the next console doesn't exist from Xbox and you can't transfer it up to the next console, your box is still going to work.
Yeah, like, it'll still be there.
Or it'll still be able to be repaired or something like that. Something will happen. And there's always alternatives. Community pick things up where corporations do not, and that's what's important here. Is because, like, how do you think we feel about, like, what are we doing with our PS3 games? What are we doing with our Wii U games? Like, if you have digital Wii U purchases, like, where are those going? Well, it's on those boxes that still work. Sometimes we need to repair them, but like those haven't gone any farther, and we kind of came to term with those. But we're so far out that, you know what happened? Now we can emulate them. Now there's PC versions that you can play on a Steam Deck very easily. There's all these different re-releases on modern platforms, all these different ways to play those games. You'll be fine in the long run. You may have fears about the future right now. They'll be okay. There are alternatives to all this, and that's what we want to convey at the end of the day.
Yep.
You'll be all right.
Elsewhere at Gamescom, they did opening night live. I put a handful of games on here I thought worth mentioning. I thought the show was okay. It was pretty decent.
Solid.
We did a talk over. Solid. It is what it needs to be for the kinds of games they're able to get for that show. And some pretty big announcements. Borderlands 4. Randy Pitchford out kind of talking about how he said for Borderlands 3, Epic Game Store was going to kind of replace Steam. He came out and explained. He's like, that was wrong. It definitely was. Some interesting stuff on that. I missed this. 6 days ago, apparently Tim Sweeney talked about how paying for exclusives lost a ton of money for them, but the free games thing did make a lot of money and has worked for them. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's why you keep doing one, you stop doing the other. Clearly, that makes sense.
Oh,
right.
So you mean like they acquired users through the free games, but like paying for exclusivity to the Epic Games Store has not worked out.
Like for Borderlands 3, and like I think we probably said that on this podcast that like paying for exclusivity, and I would say that's not what it is. It was paying to keep it off of Steam was just nothing. It was never going to accomplish anything.
I can tell you and Mike definitely had that opinion back when all this was first happening.
And it's like,
you thought it was stupid.
Just could have knocked on Tim Sweeney's head and said, hello, anybody home? How do you not see that? But he lost a lot of money to figure it out, whatever. To be fair, I was also pretty skeptical that free games would make that much of a difference because so many services have tried that. Amazon had tried that with like Amazon, like with the Twitch app or whatever, they would give away free games. And it's like, people, they get those free games, sure, but does that then lead to other purchases? And I bet it doesn't do that much for Epic in terms of like
Prime Gaming.
Prime Gaming, yes, thank you.
Yes. Which I still use. I still get those free games.
Right, and
I ain't paying for Prime for them. But,
right, and I bet people get a lot of the free games on Epic, and that is good for user acquisition. And I bet that does lead to a certain percentage increase in the amount of money people spend. I don't think it's some massive thing. Obviously, it's not changing the landscape of gaming on PC, but whatever. Either way, Borderlands 4 announced. I'll check it out. I feel like more in the mood for a Borderlands game than I have been in a while. I played a lot of 1 and didn't touch 2 or 3 or even Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Play 1 too, yeah.
Dying Light the Beast, an expandalone. Civ 7's coming out in February, looking pretty promising. I wrote Carfield.
It's so good.
Yeah. Just like, why did I think of that when it was happening?
Got a car.
Starfield's got a car. Yeah. Secret Level, that show from Tim Miller, directed Deadpool 1 and 2.
Which looks very good.
Looks very good. I kind of went back and looked at some more of those episode teasers that are in that trailer. Mega Man, a bunch of Sony games. Concord has its own episode. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna check it out.
You can see the ones that drop the bag, like Crossfire. Like what? I'm like,
was there a Crossfire one? Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's okay. You know the ones that drop that. Yeah. Well, and like Amazon's games are in there. right? And that's the whole thing.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, the New World.
Right.
Yeah.
Masters of Albion, Peter Molyneux's new game. Look, I also think Peter Molyneux is kind of a grifter or a joke, whatever. I also don't care that he's trying to make another game. Go ahead and make another game. But boy, every time he talks, he does just sort of step in it for me a little bit. The whole stuff
No
about
kidding.
the Albion being you're unable to copyright it and stuff, and it's like, yeah, whatever. It just feels weird, not like a little lazy.
At a certain point, you don't want to always be technically correct.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The best kind of correct, but boy, people really
to an extent.
find it very annoying. And I think it's a little annoying. Just do something different. Get away from that. Quit trying to ride the wake of something you did forever ago. It feels a little sad because it's not a spiritual successor to those games. It is a spiritual successor to a different franchise, and then you're also using a little bit of Fable to kind of do what it feels like to dupe some people. It's honestly what it feels like.
Indirectly using it. Yeah,
right.
He's again trying to have his cake and eat it too.
and then Brad Moreno says in chat, and then admitting he didn't check. He's like, I probably should have talked to lawyers, and I didn't do that. And people in chat were telling me you can't copyright Albion, and I was thinking the whole time yeah, but isn't this similar to how Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, but later books aren't? So you can't have certain features of Sherlock Holmes in your stuff, and it's and according to lawyers, it's exactly like that. So
yeah, it's like Mickey Mouse's right now, or technically the character of Mickey Mouse.
But if you put him in red overalls, you might be
then you have a problem.
Exactly, and it's
Big Mouse is knocking on the door,
and he's saying this is not just Albion in name. This is the Albion from Fable, is what he's saying. So
and that would be the problem.
Steamboat Willie of Albion.
Yeah, I would do that. Monster Hunter Wilds continues to look awesome.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I think people are playing it at Gamescom.
Yes, I saw Capcom's trying so hard to get Susie to play it. They just straight up put her in the game, basically. She's just one of the defaults.
Yep,
that's pretty funny.
And everyone coming out of it's it's just fucking awesome. It really rules. I think Jean-Luc Seipke over at GameSpot did a little a social post or something about it. Maybe there's a whole story, but definitely a social post about it. I watched that. Very excited about that game.
Cool.
Mafia: The Old Country, a prequel.
I'm gonna play the video game.
I'm gonna play the spicy meatball video game. Yeah,
Hey.
I love this bullshit. So in terms of Mafia media, I've never loved a Mafia game, but I'm always every time they announce a new one, I am ready to love this one. Hopefully this is the one that gets me. The first Berserker Kazan ran great compared to the first one, reveal of this game, and that's kind of what we were complaining about the first time around.
It's got 100% more Ben Starr, which is the real important thing here.
Yes, and he sounds great in that trailer.
He always sounds great.
And then people are playing Avowed at Gamescom as well. A lot of previews out there. We got invited to that. I know that I got the invite. I'm like, oh, I'm not going, but hey, Mike, Mike, Jan, I just mixed up you and Jan again. Mike, Jan, Dan, go check this out. They haven't said anything to me yet, but I've read some of these other previews. There are some kind of, all over the place. I saw a pretty negative one. I saw some pretty glowing ones. The glowing ones I'm a little skeptical of because of where they come from sometimes. Sorry, Destin Legary, I love you, but I still feel like I need to play it for myself. And then a lot of people are hey, it's running at 30 frames per second on this very powerful PC. I am getting the sense it's going to run at 30 frames per second on Xbox consoles.
Yeah, no shit.
And kind of knows, right? Exactly. That's what I said. It's thinking to oh, guys, we can't keep doing this.
Hopefully, if you've gotten to this point in the podcast and you listen to my very long rant about console performance, yes, you would know that's going to run 30 FPS.
Yeah, I was oh, guys, we gotta get over it. We gotta get up this fight.
Consoles are 30 FPS machines. They have been for nearly 20 years now. Y'all. That's just what you're looking at.
And it's there's you could roll a perfect 20 on your 20-sided die and get the 60 frames per second game here or there. Or there's the legacy franchises like Call of Duty that have committed to 60 frames per second always.
Yeah, fighting games,
because what kind of games they are.
That's where you'll get it.
So I get it. Some of the biggest games in the world, still 60 frames per second. But when a new game comes out from a developer, at this point, if they say 30 frames per second.
Again, more compromise. It's an artistic decision. And that's the Digital Foundry guys always say it. It's an artistic decision. They could lower graphics. They could lower resolution. They could do all these things.
It's also pragmatic.
No, they want to have it be pretty at 30 FPS because hardcore may not always want to hear. I know Mike never wants to hear what I tell him. That's what the average person wants. Even my normie friends, one of them's an IT guy. He knows so much about all this, and he's like, yeah, I'd rather take pretty at 30 while I'm playing on my TV.
And the reporting is it's a very pretty game. People are saying it looks really, really
as
good.
Long as it's
a lot of that's art style.
30, stable 30, and it looks pretty. That's what most people want.
Also, what people are saying. It's a very stable, that's smooth 30, as Gordon Ung would say over on the Full Nerd. Let's see here, and then Jan.
Speaking of previews, real quick. Speaking of previews, we actually didn't hit the Indiana Jones previews. What were you hearing now? That
people seem to love it. Everyone seems to be really hot and heavy on it.
What the hell was Jordan talking about with the Hitman stuff?
It's like probably what you would guess is that Indy's going to be able to change into outfits, and he's going to be able to access certain areas. But some people will recognize him no matter what. That sounds good, and also. The world is filled with interactable items that you could pick up and use in various ways. I'm like, okay, those are like, if you are going to take some stuff from Hitman, Christian's making the noises that I feel about this. And it's like, that sounds like some people like being very smart about, hey, what would just make Indiana Jones feel more like Indiana Jones and be kind of shit hot fun in a video game? That stuff sounds like a really promising foundation.
A little like James Bond adjacent, maybe, which is sort of where like mentally where the movie lies in my head too. So that works out.
That was the whole idea originally. Was Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were on a beach when Star Wars was coming out, and Steven Spielberg was like, "Hey, George, I think I want to do a James Bond," and George Lucas said, "Fuck you. You're going to make my Indiana Jones movie instead. I got something way better than James Bond." That's basically how it went, I think. But yeah, the previews have been really promising. I read that full Jordan Miller preview. A lot of typos in there, man. He's got to get his shit together. Just fucking, he's slipping. But
too busy worrying about the new Pokemon set that got revealed today,
there's some new Pokemon thing, a pop-up store in London. Get over yourself, dude. They got me excited. I was already like feeling pretty confident about this game because I really like machine games. They rule. I've really enjoyed all their storytelling, especially. So I'm like, I'm going to be emotionally invested in this game where you punch Nazis. I love that. So that stuff's going to be there for me. And now it sounds like the game has more going on than most people were expecting. That was the through line through all these previews. Is there's more depth here. There's more going on. You're going to be playing a real ass video game, and so. It's action adventure in like full name. Like when the action scenes are happening, it's an action game. When the adventure scenes are happening, and that's not just the cutscenes, you're going to be, going through tombs and looking for evidence and looking for clues about the big mystery and stuff like that. And it's going to have both of that. And I think that's going to make for a good loop. So I'm feeling pretty excited about it. And I think Avowed, meanwhile, some positive previews, but they don't have that feel of what we're getting from Indiana Jones, and I think that explains the delay. That alone explains it, where it's like they want to get a little bit more polish to maybe get a few more points on Metacritic, and that can make all the difference, really, for a game like that.
Also, they need polish right now. They need polished games releasing.
That's 100%. Yep. They need that real bad. Last thing I wrote down here, Jan did a social post about that new Power Rangers game. Did you look at this? I think that Power Rangers Beat 'em Up looks fantastic.
I mean, I remember the trailer from SGF or whatever, and that was like one of my favorite games trailers from that show.
Yeah, and it's like all because it's beat 'em up, and then it's got all the like the sort of secondary levels in between that stuff. So it's like kind of first person perspective shooter segments and racer levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks like what you would get out of like a Super Nintendo game or like a Super Nintendo adaptation of existing
a big arcade game. Yeah. So I'm just like, it looked really good. Jan seemed pretty excited. Also, that social media post is pretty good. He comes in there, punches Kurt Indovino.
Yeah, I saw just the beginning of it. That's that you retweeted from someone. Where that was pretty good. I noticed you didn't put anything I like about Gamescom on this list. I'm wondering if that was strategic or if you're slipping an old man.
I was just gonna put the ones I deeply cared about because I didn't want to like mire us down in something we've done on other shows. And then I was gonna say, hey, Sean, weren't there some fighting games there?
Yeah. Fatal Fury revealing biker MILF Mai, as I told my friend.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yep.
And Nina Williams ass character right there.
You're right.
Tell you. She looks great though, and got the classic outfit as well. And then Terry got gameplay for him in Street Fighter 6. I've been seeing more.
Let's go! I'm so hype.
Screaming Man in chat says, Grubb, what do you think of Mai? And I legally don't have to answer that, so.
Oh, you
That's
know,
correct.
Grubb, thanks am I.
I do not have to answer that.
He must be like on the show floor at Gamescom, I think, because like someone showed him, or maybe somewhere else. Someone showed Terry's like
Correct.
on the character select screen. You know how everyone does something different on the character select screen. In Street Fighter 6, they're very elaborate. Terry's is like when it loads in him and a Neo Geo AVS.
Whoa,
and he's
really?
standing there at the machine playing like Metal Slug or something. Like,
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah, it's so good. Like they put so much effort into this character. Like, you know, I interviewed the producer. I'm just like, yeah, these guys care. They love this stuff.
Yeah, the people have been trying. It's on the. I think it's on the floor on Gamescom because you know it's a convention. So people are
Right.
playing them, and
That sounds right.
Yeah, everybody who tried it, they're like losing their shit about it. They're like,
No, I'm
so
excited.
Cool, it's so good, it feels so
Yeah.
good. So I'm super excited.
Like I said, I think that game just continues to, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I should play more of that game. Street Fighter 6
Still
looks
so good.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
go
There are
ahead.
all the MiHoYo games. I'm not gonna bore you with any of that. Outside of Rat Knight is canon now in Zenless Zone Zero.
Right. Yep.
But the pre-show, I think we agree. Like the pre-show actually had good stuff in there. Like the Begone Beast, the like cute Diablo
Yep.
co-op game.
Roadcraft, of course. Yeah.
Roadcraft for you.
Yep.
You know, Infrastructure Week. Look forward to it.
It's coming. It will happen.
What was the other one? Yeah, the Donkey Kong like that looks fantastic.
Yeah. What
if
is the
people
name of
haven't
that
seen
one? I keep forgetting it.
Yeah, I don't want to like offend anyone, but it's like I have to imagine some language I'm not familiar with,
Right.
and that's why I can't remember it. But yeah, whatever that was, that looked fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
I keep thinking about that in Zoe game or whatever. I don't know how to say it.
Steam porn game.
Steam,
yeah, we know.
100% the character creator is popping off with like Sims fans right now because there's a demo out for it, and I'm like, oh, you kids just didn't know about all the Steam porn games where they've had this character creator for a very long time.
Yep.
They like started making Billie Eilish, but it's like, what if Billie Eilish was in a Steam porn game? It's
Yep.
like, oh guys, this is gonna get out of hand very fast. But I mean, let's be real. It's what that audience wants. Like a lot of like playing around with Sims is like definitely playing around in a safe space where they can explore sexuality. So I think this game is going to crush. It is going to be massive. And I don't think that takes away from the Sims 5 when that comes out. I think that still just does just as well as it was always going to do. But it's like, oh, there's more space in this genre for other games to succeed, especially when you do like everybody gets to make their waifu and husbando if they want to. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal.
Now, of course, game of the show, Infinity Nikki.
Nikki.
Finny
Yeah,
Nikki.
That's right.
We're
Correct.
very proud of Nikki. They're doing a great job on their first video game. I
An
can't wait to
MMO, and I wasn't expecting that from them, but yeah.
play it. Very ambitious, yeah.
It's a dress-up game, according to the one write-up I read about it.
Yeah.
Write-up I read about it, and
Because it's based on like a mobile game series where like the entire hook is just to play dress up, basically just like dress up dolls that you play with for like 10 minutes or whatever, like
Right.
whatever.
that
And
seems
then-
fun. I don't know. There's like because it's very whimsical and just like in your face about this is a girly dress-up game, and
Yeah.
it like owns that, and I like that too.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like a platformer or whatever, and like I don't know, I maintain it's looking whimsical, so I at least want to try it because
Yep.
we kind of dunked on the dude who was like my farming allegory for depression or whatever. So I'm like,
yeah.
dude, I'm sure you're putting your heart and soul into this, but boy, that's just not for me. Like
I bet I'll like that game.
you probably will.
probably would,
Horror.
yes.
That's what I was saying. Horror farming allegory.
Right.
I'm like, I'm depressed enough. I'm gonna go play my waifu games and my dress up
Right.
games.
Yeah. King
You
of
want to
Meat.
talk about depression?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, please
Continue
go.
with
No,
King of Meat.
I was just going to
Well,
mention
it's
it.
all we do around here. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Christian?
What's up, Christian?
Oh, I was about to talk about Arc Raider, the return of Arc Raider after like.
Oh,
years.
that's
Well,
right,
no,
that's
it's finally
right.
back. You've been asking for them to come back and show you something. Aren't you happy?
I don't know how to feel about it because
It was
like,
just
the
another
people that-
teaser, right? That's why fans are pretty
Yeah,
upset.
it was just. It's just a teaser, and like, well, they have a they at least talk about it. They have a beta on October, and now it's well, we already know this, but it's a extraction shooter. Well, they call it a PvE now, so
Sounds
not
a good
technically
sign.
extraction
Yeah.
shooter. So don't hate it, don't hate on it yet, and it's gonna be $40. Well, I don't know. I just love the first trailer. I just went. back to
I
the first
remember,
trailer
yeah.
again.
It was a good trailer.
And I was just like, oh, I wish we had this, but Whatever. The other game, I hope it's good.
All right. I think what we're going to do now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. There's a few more topics we'll hit, and then we'll do the super chats. We'll get right back after this. All right.
All right.
Do you need a break or anything, Sean? Are you good to go?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. You wanna set up the game?
No. We're gonna talk about Black Myth Wukong real quick and Concord, and then we'll
we
do super chats,
and then a break.
and then I'll take another
Super
break, and I'll set up the game then.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
10 out of 10. You're so good at this.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate the reminder.
You do this for a living.
All right, we're back. A few more things just from this week. Black Myth Wukong came out, massively successful. I think it topped at about 2.2 million concurrent players on Steam. It's never a full insight into what's happening with it, but that makes it the top single-player game, premium price game ever on Steam. Behind only, I think there's maybe one thing ahead of it from Valve, maybe, but yeah, basically it's up there. It beat like so many other games. That is very impressive. A lot of those players in China, but as we said earlier, their money spends. That is a market that people like. What's going to happen here is a lot of people are like, oh, Chinese people like the Chinese game. Big surprise. And that's not a story. And it's like, no, this is a news story. People want that money. And so investors are going to say, what are you doing to get your game into China and win over that market? And it's going to change how games get made. Your favorite games, the companies that make the games you like are going to have to, they can't ignore this. So it's news and it's important. And yet
that's why Nintendo made IQ, you need to get foot in the door.
Before consoles could be like directly sold in that market. Yeah, they still found ways to get into that market. I mean,
it's a huge market.
1 billion people, and they did have the fastest rate of growth for quality of living of any country for the last 10 years. Now, that slowed down a lot recently. Their economy is having some serious issues right now, but and their unemployment rate very high. Whatever, there's still a ton of people spending money on games in that country, and this is the evidence that they are there and they are ready to play games that we would consider traditional video games. It's not just free to play mobile stuff anymore. It's not just free to play PC MMOs and online shooters. This is a traditional action game that is crushing it and is on consoles and is succeeding across the world, but especially in China. And I think it's kind of all good news for the most part. What do you think?
No, it is with this game. There's some
the
some
weirdos can find a way to be
but-
weird about all these games. Anytime it's the West is shaking and it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, but whatever.
There's all kinds of weirdness from weird plays on this, but just talking about the game itself, it is good to see just this expansion in general from a variety of different places, a variety of different, places we haven't heard from across the globe in, places where you wouldn't expect game development to sprout up, or at least not in the way that, say, here we have with Black Myth Wukong, a traditional console character action game, which isn't necessarily what you would expect from a Chinese development team. So seeing them, branch out a little bit and try something like this, that's, I think, always good to see. And just let these people have their creativity and make whatever project they want to make. They're very open about, we want to do something like this. We want to try this. That's kind of something we saw with Stellar Blade earlier in the year, where this mobile game team wanted to expand beyond mobile games and try their hand at a traditional console game because they're like, we like, Devil May Cry and Bayonetta and stuff like that.
Turns out a lot of them grew up playing those games, and that's why they started making games in the first place. So here they are.
And that's what you got here, where they're like, we like Souls games and stuff. And we want to try our hand at it and, and put some of our culture into it. So, I think at least, ideologically, that's really cool. And seeing that.
Someone chat's like, oh, this is going to lead to some more bad trend chasing. And of course it will. Everything leads to bad trend chasing anytime there's a success.
That's just the industry at this point.
That's just every industry, especially this one. Do you think that more Western studios, not that they haven't already, Enslaved exists, but do you think more Western studios will do Journey to the West as the foundation of the story for their game? Because not to I made this joke once. It's I was going to make fun of China for every game being Journey to the West, and literally a lot of their games are just that retold in a bunch of different ways. And then I'm like, oh, but every successful game in America is a sad dad game, so it's we're clearly no better. But yes, if Journey to the West is like a kind of a cheat code to succeeding in China to a certain extent, do you think some like EA will have their next Journey to the West game?
I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Ubisoft. Just gut feeling. But
that's a good poll. Yeah.
Yeah.
They already made. Don't they have like a deal with not Tencent, but one of those companies? They like had a huge investment from Tencent, I think, and they're like, then we're going to start getting more of our games into China.
Tencent's everywhere. Tencent's doing great things, planting trees across the world and everything. Like that,
the greenest company there is.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. No idea.
Yeah, another game came out this week, though. People were calling it Game of the Year Day because Black Myth Wukong came out and Concord came out.
Didn't that come out today?
I think it came out in early access on a couple days ago. So, yeah. I think
that's why. Yeah, it comes out tomorrow.
Yep. No one's playing it. Okay. At the very least, there were 5,000 people watching on Twitch earlier tonight. I checked before we went live. And that's because... one channel that normally has 5,000 viewers was streaming it. There was another one that was kind of making up the bulk of that, and then that's it. So if those two people stop streaming it, there will be a few hundred people watching Concord on Twitch. It's hard to explain. I feel like people... okay, I'll try to explain it. I think what happens here is people look for any excuse not to spend money. And so you can never give them a single excuse. And I think in this case, people found one in that, hey, this looks like cheap Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's $40, and I have all these other free-to-play shooters I could be playing instead. So any of the negatives are amplified by like 20x because people are like just going to hook in on those to give them an out so they don't have to spend that $40. And that's just the way shooters are going to be now, I think, because... Can any other series really, other than Call of Duty in this genre, charge money to get access to it going forward? It doesn't feel like it. I think this is like sort of the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, because that's a barrier to entry, and any barrier to entry is going to be difficult when you are like, if you're playing solo, it's whatever. But if you're trying to get your friends in there, which is what a lot of people do when they play multiplayer games nowadays, good luck getting all of your friends to spend $40. Like, it was a miracle my friends pay money to play Call of Duty with me sometimes, but even then they're not buying every year. It's just like, this one looks good and we haven't played one like 5 years, so let's pick it up.
Yeah. Marino chat just real quick, he says the top channels have for this game is 5,000, then the next channel has 742 viewers, and then the third most viewed Concord channel has 10 viewers.
So the interest isn't necessarily there either.
Right. And it's like, and I think that just it's the thing where people might have been interested. I think this game comes out several years ago. It's a completely different story, but people talk themselves into things and out of things, and they don't want to be talked into this one because they don't want a reason to spend $40 on it.
I mean, exactly. The fact that they would need to be talked into it at all by PlayStation, by themselves, by a friend, they don't want to do that because, we make the comparison of something like Overwatch. Overwatch is free.
Yeah.
And like, look,
Overwatch 2 could have charged money for Overwatch 2.
They could have.
And they didn't.
8 years ago, it was fine to spend $40.
And that's how long this game's been in development, which is why you say 8 years. Yeah.
No, because that's when Overwatch came out.
Oh, well, it's also, this game's also been in development for 8 years. So there you go.
What a coincidence.
Yep.
Then $40 for a multiplayer game made more sense. Nowadays, no. People are looking for free to play because that's what they expect. And expectations are everything. It's like when we saw with, Capcom's games on iOS recently. No one's buying those. Like the RE4 remake and stuff like that. Why are they not buying them? Because that's not what that audience expects. And so with Concord, it just feels like a mismanagement to me. Like I've been saying, it would have made more sense if it was like, free with PS Plus, like no strings attached, not first month.
That's happening soon. I would imagine that those are talks probably already happening.
To, because if they're not going to sell, they need to recuperate costs somehow. So okay, make you a PlayStation Plus thing to get more subscribers concurrent there. Something, do something.
Yeah, and I brought this up somewhere before, but this feels like an Agents of Mayhem moment for this genre for AAA games again, where it's like at a certain point, a game like this just would have automatically been a relatively huge success just based on the fact that marketing was spent on it, and people were looking for the next game to play, and they just jumped to this one because they cashed out the content and all the other games they've been playing, so they just would move on to this because these are the kinds of games they played. And then suddenly that stopped. That stopped with like those kinds of games like Agent of Mayhem when that came out, and that game completely crashed. And a lot of games similar to that did very similar numbers after that. This is like that moment for shooters where everyone's going to look at this and be like, and it seems like PlayStation's got a lot of these games in the works. So God, they must be panicking over there a little bit, I think. But people are going to look at this and be like, oh, we cannot do this anymore, at least for now. That things can shift. If there's a dearth of these kinds of games that have a premium price for long enough, people will be like longing for the good old days, and maybe there'll be a chance to change the narrative at that point. But in this moment, this feels, everyone overuses Dead on Arrival. And I'm not even speaking about the game, really. I think that this whole concept of charging for a game like this right now is Dead on Arrival. Now, of course, if your game is... you can't ignore it. If it's so good and so compelling that you can't ignore it, you could still succeed with a premium price right now. But it's hard to make those, or else, the fucking last Battlefield would have just been that. They would have just made that game. Even EA can't do that with all the money in the world for the second biggest shooter franchise historically. They couldn't figure it out. So what chance does anyone else have? They don't.
Like Jedi Moss points out in the chat, even Halo went free to play.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we're at right now, where that's, again, what people expect. And I think they were smart to do it in the same way that Call of Duty does, where single player, hey, we put a lot of time to making that pretty and everything like that. Give us money for that. Right. The multiplayer, we know that you want to get in there easily. You want to get your friends in there easily. So yeah, free to play. That's the way to go. Well, I want to ask you, you got some, Christian? Go ahead.
Yeah, the Marvel Rivals came out and they said like, Heroes are going to be free forever.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals has all of the same like big marketing points as Concord. All the heroes are going to be free forever. And it's like, that's a free to play game. What do you do?
That's huge. That's huge, very important.
Because that's where we're at. And so a $40 game is just Dead on Arrival in this show.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you think they had dollar signs in their eyes after Helldivers, and that's why this is a $40 game, or was this always the plan?
I don't know if it was always the plan, but I definitely think that they felt very confident in their choices after Helldivers 2, and it's that's the game you can't ignore, right? Because it fits in so well, especially with the PC audience of, if I convince my friend to play this, I feel good about that because it's going to be a unique experience. We're not going to get it in a lot of other places. The experience that we have had, maybe we did play Helldivers 1. It's like, what if it's that, but we're closer to the action? It's like a Grand Theft Auto 3 to, Grand Theft Auto 2 to Grand Theft Auto 3 moment for this way of playing games. You can make a compelling case there to your friends. And we always focus on that conversation because I think so much of gaming it orbits those conversations of trying to convince your friends to buy something. And Helldivers had the juice when it came to that. And that is so hard to come by. Most games don't, which is why most games just struggle in that regard. And something like Concord, as much money as they put into it, and as obviously, I think it seems like a pretty solid game overall for many people. That just doesn't go that. It still feels like a dime a dozen in a lot of ways. It still feels. Yeah, but it still feels like you can get a lot of the same feelings and emotions from so many other games that are free.
Right. And that's the problem right there. Because you never know until you put a project out into the wild how people will react to it. But at the same time, once the vibes are out there, you need to do that vibe check to see, okay, how are people feeling about this? Does something need to pivot in the future? Does something need to change? And I know that's difficult. I'm not saying that's easy, mid-development, especially once you have like marketing spun up and everything. But maybe that's part of the problem with the plan for this game. Maybe they should have previewed it a little bit earlier. Like Marvel Rivals, we don't know when that's coming out still. I think I don't think it has a release date confirmed yet.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
it showed up. It showed up in Gamescom opening night live, right? But I don't think they had a date for it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
December 6th.
Oh, they did get one.
Okay. There you go.
But that's decently far out still.
Right.
And it felt like Concord having the beta and the game so close to each other didn't give them an opportunity to pivot at all if they needed to. And so that's the problem right there. Because like with Helldivers, like that's another one of those games where I got my friends to buy it, at $40, because I'd be like, well, it's $40. It is cheaper than your average game. But then, I showed them one of the streams we did. I was like, dude, check out this thing that happened. And it was very easy to get them on board because it's like, oh, we can do stuff like that. That looks so funny.
A unique story you could tell, and
exactly,
you need to be able to have that hook to convince people.
And I'm sure there's people who are getting that with Concord, but we didn't. I didn't, and so that's why we're not feeling great about it.
Even the people that like it,
I think
are giving it 7s and 7.5s, 8s, and things like that. So
it's all just kind of combining to where it just feels like an unfortunate situation with this one.
Right. I don't I'm not trying to rub it in the face of the people that worked on this game for a very long time. I could see how you end up in this situation where it's this, we're doing all the things you need to do to make a game that people enjoy playing. And maybe it's not going to be a 10 out of 10 when we launch it, but there's going to be a lot of fun things in here. And clearly it's a problem that's not good enough in this circumstance. And it's so far from good enough for so many people that it can just crash and burn immediately. But it's also just where we're at. And that comes down to there are so many options for entertainment these days, even just in gaming, but beyond gaming. There's just so many options that you really have to have, again, that unique story to tell people to justify any sort of movement of their money. Otherwise, here we are with Concord.
Right.
I've said this a bunch of times. Jim Ryan got out while the getting was good. He fucking just escape potted his way out of hey, I made the PS5 and the PS4. Look at me. I am a champion and I'm getting out of here. Good luck with whatever all that stuff was. I know I was signed off and said, service games are the future. I don't know. Bye.
It's Herman's problem now.
Problem now. Yeah. But that begs the question, does the strategy changes, right? After this? I know Helldivers 2 worked, but I think the way Helldivers 2 worked, I think might speak to how difficult it is going to be to replicate that. Because look at Helldivers 2, and if you tell someone, all right, do that so we can succeed, I think everyone goes, what the fuck do you mean? How do we just do that? That is such a unique thing. We don't have that many ideas that would work like that. So, you need
organic growth. You cannot manufacture it.
Yeah. I think they're back to where we've said Sony's been for a while. Their big games are going to continue to succeed, and they'll probably grow in terms of just sheer revenue at a steady clip, but it won't keep up with the cost of those games, and so they are looking for other ways to find growth. That was going to be live service games, and now, I think we've said that for a while too, that's not necessarily the answer.
$1 million question here to round it out. Does fair games come out, Jeff?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. Man,
does it even come out?
Honestly, that is a really good question. Does it even come out? I think probably, but I think it has a very different vibe and feel and pitch, and is free to play as hell, and has a ton of bonuses for people in PlayStation Plus. Obviously you're going to need PlayStation Plus. Well, no, if it's a free to play game, you don't need PlayStation Plus to play it online. But if you get that, you get a bunch of bonuses. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's the one that it has the juice, has the magic. But if it doesn't, or if it's similar juice to what Concord has, I would be looking at that game as an executive of PlayStation right now going, what do we do with this thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Those are the big topics of the week. Let's hit the super chats. Shawn, do you have those?
Yeah, I can pull them up in 1 second here. Is this the first one? Yeah, it's the first one I saw when I came in. So
yeah, here we go.
Should have all of them here. All right, let's go down the line. First up, Big Fresh 37 says, have you thought about what you're going to name your Palico? In Monster Hunter, I usually go with Catrick Bateman.
I like that. No, but I have it, but I'll just see if I can come up with something.
Osama.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. Some cat pun. I'll keep thinking about it. I'll get back to you, but I can't remember
what's the name of your cat?
Nico Mumu Jefferson Grubb.
I knew he had like a million names. I was trying to remember which one.
The kids, and we mostly just call him Mumu, or they call him Mamu for some reason. I don't know why.
I usually go with some like Mega Man pun, like, I call the Palamute Rush and so on. Sometimes I think I call the Palico Rush. Maybe I'll call him Tango this time, another cat from Mega Man, because keeping the Capcom family. Sometimes once in a while if I'm feeling spicy.
Well, Mike Meow Naughty is pretty good.
Oh, Meow Naughty is good. I do like that one.
And to your point, Shawn, sometimes they give armor for the Palico that looks like Capcom characters. So
yeah, I think that might have been what inspired me to do it the first time around, like 4 Ultimate ones. I think there was a Rush skin, so I was like, oh yeah, it's Rush. He's my pet. That makes sense. Another one from Big Fresh 37. Not about you guys, but I'm already tired of the press attitude of if you don't like playing on consoles, F you, be on PC dummies. Well, maybe after that conversation, it is about us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for being tired of it. You like what you like, right? And you want things to be the way you want them to be. And I think what we're really getting at is, at what point is that the company's problem, and at what point is it your problem? And I think we're kind of teetering on, the company is going to serve their customers and give the customers what they want, and the company going, not making enough money doing that, so now it's your problem. And you can ignore that. I think that's perfectly viable. If you are enjoying gaming the way you're gaming, you can ignore that and that's fine. But if you then begin having complaints about the way the company's behaving and the choices that they're making, I think you have to, at some point, you have to recognize it's a little bit your problem. That's all we're saying.
Yes. And also, like I was saying, accept compromise. And if you can't accept compromise, accept alternatives. You got to do one or the other.
If you're a happy-go-lucky gamer that has no complaints and is just enjoying things, you're not the problem. You're fine.
Exactly. Which is where you want to be. Yep. Because it's all just games, people. Yeah. Games. Have fun with them. From Jeff D, appreciate the pod. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Other Jeff. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Jeff D.
From Hitch, Jeff, is Alien Isolation 2 the unannounced CA game?
No, I think it's that Star Wars. Have I talked about this before? I think someone else talked. I think someone else talked about it. I think, isn't that the studio that's making that Star Wars strategy game? I think that's probably that. That's been reported elsewhere now, and I've heard about that for a while and haven't said anything because I wasn't able to fully confirm it, but other people have. It's seemingly. So yeah, it's probably that. And if there's another game in addition to that, I have no idea.
Okay, gotcha. From the one and only Chris Pratt. Just came back from the Nintendo Museum, still so hard from stomping the poopas on the big Wii remote.
Sure, yeah, hey, I get it, Chris Pratt. We all are just red-blooded Americans, right? Can't help ourselves, right? Shout outs to Chris Son.
Always. From Power Glover, Mike's favorite chatter. Hey, wanted to share that I have seen 2 cars in town with themes. One with a Raccoon City PD custom wrap, that's sick, and another that is all black, sporting a xenomorph and Wayland Yutani.
Wayland Yutani, the evil corporation from the Alien universe.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick. Okay, weird, huh? Fun town.
Yeah, that's cool. I like themed cars. I don't know if I could ever feel confident enough to do that myself, but I like it when I see them.
Yeah, definitely. Another one from Hitch. I hope Machine Games goes back to Wolfenstein, honestly.
I mean, yeah.
For 3 at least.
Yeah, I listen, I hope that after Indiana Jones crushes, they get the, one for you, one for me, and we get to see them finish out the Wolfenstein 3.
Let me kill Mecha Hitler. Let me kill Mecha Hitler.
Yeah, of course. What's up, Sean? Yeah. You all right?
Don't make them Insomniac. Don't make them a Marvel studio. Oh,
yeah, well, okay.
Oh no.
You mean just working on Indiana Jones going forward, or what?
Bro, you ain't getting our Ratchet anytime soon, and I hope we get Wolfenstein.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get my hopes up that we'll ever get to see the end of the Wolfenstein story, but I do have my hopes up.
Yeah, both incredible studios, both presumably great games, with the Indiana Jones there. But yeah, hopefully they don't think, licensed games, this is all you do now. Hopefully not.
I mean, if this game is as good as people are kind of alluding to, and I think it has a chance of selling very well, we'll see. I don't know.
The best possible problem to have, I suppose. Yeah. From Cody Bishop, Jeff, what is your favorite Alien TM movie?
This is a trap because I know on another show I said recently I don't like to pick, but listen, if I had to sit down and watch any of them on any given day, I am probably picking Aliens, but that doesn't mean it's like I like it more than Alien. They both are great movies, and they serve different purposes at different times. And I'm not
just more likely to go back to the action-y one, right?
Right, exactly. I just don't. They don't have to compete for my affection. They both are great. I don't really have too much love for any of the other ones. I kind of like how stupid Prometheus is, but I think it's I think it's a pretty bad movie that I don't enjoy watching for the most part. But I haven't seen Romulus yet, so we'll see.
Y'all need to watch that movie. Goddammit, it's a good movie.
I will. I'll get a chance. Man,
I'll check it out. I usually don't go to the movies anymore, but maybe I
have a hard time getting to the movies. So only when Borderlands comes out do I have time.
Oh my god, I hate you so much. I want the movie to just blow up because I want the director to get another shot at it to continue.
I think he's gonna get another shot.
The role now,
yeah, I think he's gonna get another shot. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Ryan, who admitted they fumbled the spelling in the super chat, but I know what he means. Dan and Bailey have apparently been arguing about who is better at spelling in Germany. Any chance of a GB spelling bee during Bee Week?
I think I got a text message from Jan saying we're doing a spelling bee next week.
I think we got some good news for you, Dr. Ryan. Stay tuned to Giant Bomb.
So, yeah, well, very likely, yes. Dan always wants to do a spelling bee because it's like the thing that he is very good at is spelling.
Oh, he doesn't want to do it after I compete in that spelling bee.
I got kind of bad at spelling at some point in the last couple of years. I used to be okay at it. I was never like a great speller.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as I used to be, Jeff.
Right.
But let me tell you, 12 years ago, I was smoked all you. I got a perfect score in English on the ACT.
Oh, damn. Okay. Okay. Man,
I'm coming
impressive.
for your asses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. I wasn't familiar with your game.
We'll see how much of that I've retained.
Right.
But
I'm looking forward to this. It'll be fun. But I did a spelling bee, I think, once in my life. And I think I got oyster in like 3rd grade, and I didn't know it had a Y in it. So I bounced out of that pretty quickly.
Where do you think the "y" comes from in oyster?
Didn't think about it. Just didn't think about it that hard. And you know what? Of all the things, because I was like, we would. My teacher hated me, and she would pit me up against the kid who had a ton of like tutoring at home for like hey, we're gonna do flashcards and math and stuff. And I was very good at like processing it and doing it quicker than anyone else except for him, because he had it all memorized. And so she would always pit us together, and I would have crushed anyone else, but it's like, so I would always be like almost beating him, but it's like at a certain point I couldn't keep up. So but I was pretty good at like stuff like that, math but spelling never.
Oh yeah, math was my weak point. You know, there's always a seesaw there in your subjects.
Exactly,
math I was never amazing.
And I'm not a great speller, but I was okay. I was fine. I think I will do respectable, and then I will beef it on something easy probably.
All right.
Yeah, watch me fall flat on my face.
I didn't know Shawn had that smoke on him. So
again, Jan's gonna give me something so random for the first word. I'm just gonna brother.
And I think Dan and Bailey are both actually probably very good spellers. So I'm looking forward to this.
Cool. From Oyasumi Mex, been having a great time with SteamWorld Heist 2, and just wanted to give a shout so it's not buried by other good games. As always, love the show.
Thank you, Mex. I started it. I enjoy what I've played of it so far, and it's getting buried by other games because I'm busy with so much other stuff. That's just
that was a fun little GB plays we did. It seemed like an interesting game where if I had more time, I might check it out.
Yeah, it's Sam. It's one I want to be playing. I think Dan said he was going to be playing it on the plane and in Germany, so maybe he'll come back and have some stories about it, and maybe that'll get me back into it. But there's just so many things I got to be playing that are coming out soon to talk about. Maybe I get past some of that and come back to it. I hope so. I enjoyed what I played.
All right. From Wes Dietrich, I believe that would be. I feel like Game Pass and exclusivity windows have slowly eroded consumers' FOMO. Xbox/Sony should just release everything everywhere day one. And I think, you're talking to PC gamers here. In an ideal world, everything would be everywhere day one.
Yeah, it's like, we're clearly like, the gravitational pull is pulling in that direction. We're not fully there. We're probably not even close to like that being the case, but we're closer than we've ever been. Like it's more like that than ever.
for single player games, they're still going to keep them at least exclusivity windows to try to like
right. It's going to be a windowing system, right? That like just like movies, like they go in the theaters and they did like during the pandemic. A lot of companies are like just tried putting those movies at home, and they're like, we made a ton of money, put them in the theaters, so we're just going to go back to doing it that way and have it a window system. And now guess what? The window's smaller than ever, to the point where even super successful movies in the theater are at home 8 weeks later. So like it'll just be more compressed, and there will probably still be some windowing, but for the most part, it's moving in that direction for the most part.
Yeah. From Kaiju Kyle, do you think Resident Evil will ever go to space? Would it be similar to Dead Space? Umbrella Corporation got to have a space station, right?
I think they do it event. I think there's at least a segment in one of these games that goes up to space or something. I feel like Code Veronica might have almost had done that at one point, but not quite.
Resident Evil, which one would have been 6? Got like pretty high in the atmosphere or something like that, or might have been 5. Yeah, it might have been 5, where they're like battling on an airplane or something. But
there's a chance. I think that happens.
They go to the moon.
Yeah,
let's go to the moon.
Come on,
they reach for that moon.
Yeah, hey, it's right there in the name of the engine.
The engine already.
Yeah.
God damn. Oh my god. $1 million idea.
From Zubmer, Amazon game publishing are forever a failure, past, present, and future. They should give up.
Yeah, I mean, they've got
I feel like their numbers are there, though.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like me caring about their games, I guess if they were judging by that, I don't. Yeah, sure, maybe. I think that they had a lot of anime games they were bringing from Japan and releasing here. Is that kind of, or maybe it was China and they're releasing them here. I don't think those did much, but they've said recently like they're gonna. That's not all they're doing.
Oh right, Christian, they're
some MMOs.
Blue Protocol, right?
Blue Protocol was them. Yeah,
it's not out yet.
It's still not out
in the West.
Yeah,
like
right.
Overseas
But
it has been out
for years. Overseas, yeah.
Not years, but like a couple of months. I guess.
Not years. Okay, one of those games that they were publishing though had been out for a long time, and they were finally bringing it here. I just remember them telling me that.
You might be thinking about Lost Ark because that was like out in Korea or whatever for many years, and then the Western release was last year.
That's a Diablo-like.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
From our buddy the Uncharted Wolf, when do y'all think other Souls-likes will reach FromSoft's level? It seems like other Souls-likes are perpetually stuck in the low 80s.
Never.
Yeah, I mean, probably never because like they sort of lead in terms of like with new ideas and really nailing that stuff. But you got to, I mean, low 80s for a bunch of games that are trying to be like something else. It's really
by definition great.
Really, really good. I mean, I'm just like trying to like find the last game for my fantasy critic right now and look around like I don't think anything's going to be in the 80s for the rest of the goddamn year from the games that are left on the list to choose from. It's really hard to get there. And like I was looking at like the top games so far this year, and it's like after like the first 3 or 4, you're immediately getting into like almost the mid 80s on Metacritic or on OpenCritic at least. So yeah, look. That's they're going to keep getting better. They're going to approach it, but it's going to be like that curve that never quite meets that line. It's always going to be getting closer. I think we've seen that with a handful of these games now that like people are like, this is almost as good as a FromSoft game, and they had not said that about many of these up until that point.
Right, and I think, I mean, this is super negative way. I think there may be a slight reviewer bias if we're just talking about review scores, where like Lies of P, I think, deserved a little bit better than it got. I think it kind of got the shaft for being a Souls-like.
I think people will soften on that, and they'll be actually looking for more variety in this, because I think at one point, From is doing it, and people are like, you're encroaching on From, and I kind of just want this from because one, it makes From feel more special, and which we talk about that all episode now. People like things that feel special, and two, you're kind of distracting me, and I don't want to have to play this as well. I don't want to have to care about this as well. It's a defense mechanism, but people are going to be looking for that stuff because it's just going to be a genre that people want to be playing around in, and so they'll be more open to those games being different and trying other things.
Yeah, I think the more it becomes a genre and less of a comparison, I think the more we'll see people open up to that a little bit.
Right, when it stops being Doom clones, it becomes first-person shooters, yeah.
Yes, it nailed it, yeah. From Connell Wood, the winning move is a PC and whatever Nintendo has, and hey, that's why I've been for the past, really, almost my entire life. But like seriously for the past 10 or so years, since like the beginning of the PS4 generation.
Yep, same here. That's when it happened to me, when I was like, yep, this works for me. Even when it was mostly the Wii U still, it still worked for me. before that, I was very happy with the Xbox 360. That was a very good generation to be kind of
fantastic system
online and playing games on there, and kind of it feels like a special time that's gone in terms of being able to hop online and meet somebody and having them become lifelong friends. And I'm sure people still do that in a million places, but for me, that's when that happened and it's over.
Yeah. From Nintendo Derek, when Microsoft/Sony are deciding what games to bring multi-platform, how far back are they looking? Is early Xbox One or even 360 stuff on the table for PS5? Is PS3, PS2 stuff on the table for PC? I think if we're specifically talking about like Microsoft, I think Microsoft, anything is on the table because they just want to get everything everywhere. And then on the flip side, PlayStation being more selective. It's if it's going to PC, it's kind of anything goes, but roughly they seem to be going with like for first party stuff, like a 1 year window.
Yeah, I think this is I think Sean's exactly right. Up until it's like it becomes a pragmatic issue where it's like, do we have people actively working on this game? That makes it easier to port it. So then we'll do those games. And if it's a matter of let's go get whatever code out of storage so we can have some like that's a different thing, and it requires a very concerted, specific, targeted effort that doesn't happen very frequently. And so I think everything's on the table for both companies in a lot of ways. But then the pragmatic, just the process of making that happen is going to be more challenging the older the game is.
Yeah, I think they're not. That's a very good point, because I don't think they're specifically following a strict code internally. Right. I think it is more like
path of least resistance, right? It's just like what is
Sony
easy
bought
to do.
Nix's for a reason. They want their games
and they've
on
got
PC.
I'm sure they have a backlog of stuff that they're going to work toward, and at the same time, more new games getting added onto that pile at all times that will take precedent and take priority.
They always have to just consider, okay, well, do we have the bandwidth to do a console and PC version at the same time, or do we port it? If you're porting, you do need like at least a year, which is probably why you've seen a lot of these PlayStation games come out a year later, just because, you know, that's a nice advertising, easy way to advertise your exclusivity window, but also that's what you need for like people to actually port it over. So, yeah, I don't think they're following any strict rules with that one.
No.
Another one from Hitch coming in here. I'm praying Remedy buys the rights to Alan Wake 2 and re-releases on Steam. Never going to use EGS because I'm lazy. I'm never going to use EGS because I have zero faith in ownership over there. We talked about faith in ownership earlier. And like, look, again, you don't own anything digitally, but I have a lot more faith in Valve to keep my account going for longer, you know?
That's right. I don't know. It feels like in the long run, it'll end up on Steam just by, again, gravitational pull. Like the forces will just end it up there, but it doesn't feel like that's going to happen soon. It's a shame because that's definitely one of the things holding that game back from making back its money. I hope Epic understands that, the publisher of those games, of that game, and is like factoring that into its decision to continue funding games from Remedy. But it would be a lot easier if it just made that money by selling games to people on Steam.
Yeah, I'm really good at recommending stuff to people. I take pride
I always
on
say
that.
that about you.
And I told my friends you had to play these games, and I never failed them. So like they going to play this game, but it's on EGS, and that's like the tallest barrier I ever encountered recommending stuff to people. It's like
people just don't want to go there.
It's just not gonna play. I'm like,
but it's human nature. People do not like doing things out of that deviate from the norm.
They like what they like. Exactly. That's kind of the theme of this episode. Let's see here. Next up would be El Grug. What happens first? Mike gets canceled for real this time. People realize that you shouldn't play co-op games with Jeff, or that Zelda blowout.
I think that's overstated my problems playing co-op games. Sure, they stand out.
Fucking flag to the enemy team. We're about to win.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. You goofball, I'm trying to be a little nicer with my language. You knucklehead.
That didn't seem too bad. I was just kind of testing things out.
Everybody go look at the videos that Jeff has been posting on Twitter of that. That GB plays we did for August was very good, where we played Murky Divers and Pilgrim.
Yep, there was a lot of fun moments in there, and it's definitely
check out.
A lot of people dying while I like sort of skated by unharmed in many situations.
By putting us in harm's way physically.
Listen, I didn't put anyone. I just let it happen. That's all.
I heard that somebody got sucked and swallowed. So
Yes, they definitely did. Yes.
pretty good.
Go watch the entire stream, or if you don't have time yet, check out the clips on Jeff's Twitter.
That's good stuff.
From Raymond Octal, if
Sorry, Nikki in chat says, yes, I did.
are hardware price cuts ever going to be a thing again? Once last gen hardware goes away, is it just mobile, maybe cloud for entry level gaming?
I mean, no, you got like who's still buying consoles? It's there's more of us than ever, but we're spending more money than ever. It's us suckers. It's the people that are the most into this. It is a hobby for the most extreme, and again, there's a lot of us now, but they make their money by selling the same stuff to us over and over again, and they don't make as much when they drop the price because they make money from us buying software. But then the way that they can circulate more hardware into the marketplace is by getting us to buy a new one and maybe giving the old one away, selling the old one on the secondhand market or something like that. And so it behooves them to always keep it at that same price because then they maximize the amount of money they make from us, the people most likely to buy that hardware in the first place, and then also most likely to buy it 5 years into the generation when they put out a 2 terabyte model for $600. So no, the price cuts are done for the most part.
On the flip side of that as well, components aren't necessarily going down.
Right. There was
prior
definitely that
to
supply issues were a huge issue.
Yeah, prior to this generation coming out, I know that Xbox told the Digital Foundry guys there probably will not be an Xbox Series X Slim because we don't see a path to making that. Like, we've made this as small as we can with the components that we want to put in here. What is your Slim? It's the Series S. That is your cheaper console. That is, cheaper for us to make, so cheaper for you to buy. But like the Series X, it basically probably will be what it is for the remainder of the generation.
I think that's I think you're absolutely right. And it's a good point, but I think it also speaks to the same thing where it's with that Xbox One and PlayStation 4. They're like, let's not spend a lot of money on making these systems. We don't know how people are going to be about consoles going forward. So let's save some money. And it's like, oh, they realized is they should have actually taken more time making that hardware better because it was just going to be people who deeply cared about those consoles buying it, and there was a lot of them. And so the next time around, they're like, let's absolutely maximize everything we can with these systems right out of the gate and make them as good as possible. And again, because we know who we're targeting now, and we know that they have enough money to justify that decision. But what that that makes it necessary to keep the price high for the entire generation. And they also discovered they could successfully keep the price high the previous generation.
If you can, why not? Like, the only reason they see, like with the PS5, we see the PS5 Slim because they just got better at cooling the PS5. It's not because like the PS5 necessarily got cheaper to make.
This happened in GPUs as well, where it's like they got very good at like getting the most out of every single one of these chips and bending them to such a minute degree that they have the ties and the supers, and they're able to kind of sell you the same thing over and over again. So it's not surprising it happened with consoles too.
Right. Another one from Zub Mur coming in. Execs think people must be constantly looking for games to dump time and money into because there are people who do that for some games. I mean, yeah, that's basically what the live service games are all about, right?
Yeah, right. The people are looking for a hobby. Gaming is... Yeah. And, it's successfully happened. And, we've talked about that a million times where it's like, now there's enough of them, it's very hard to break in. So, yeah.
Edgar Moreno. Jeff, do you have the new Anbernic? Also, my Audio-Technica M50X finally broke after 10 years. What's the new go-to for you guys? I like earbuds, as you can see.
Yep. I think I'm going to get the earbuds that Shawn has. Because we were talking about that,
these are the what Critical worked with some team to do, the 02s. These are called. If you look on Amazon, you look like 02 earbuds, you'll find them pretty easily. But Chi-Fi, as it's called, Chinese hi-fi, is getting really good at making like earbuds that are fantastic. So that's what I recommend personally, at least.
I don't have the newest Anbernic. If you, I have the GBA one, the SP one, that flip up. But I think they released one more since then. I don't have that one. A lot of Anbernic stuff has been using the same chipset for the last year and a half, and I'm kind of waiting for the next thing from them. I did think that new Retroid Pocket with the 4x3 screen and the OLED screen looks pretty promising as long as it's able to pretty easily play GameCube games and isn't like $300.
It's the Retroid Pocket Mini.
Yeah, Mini. I think is the yes,
yeah, because
that's
I
the
follow
name.
both them and
They just announced that was just that was just today. So
yeah, and they didn't confirm anything, but they did confirm that screen's 4x3 OLED, which
interesting. That's very for real. And if I could play every GameCube game on there that runs on Dolphin successfully, then I'll be pretty happy.
For a pocketable device, that's very cool.
I'm kind of into it. It's a relatively small screen, but I'm fine with that.
From Passel of Hogs 420, will there be a best bees in video games draft? We got to do that somewhere next week.
Yeah, I think we did talk about something like that. If not, if we can't justify a full draft, we can at least do a Mount Rushmore, but we'll have something for BCR.
Yeah, BCR next week or something.
Yeah, it'll be B themed. Don't worry.
Yeah. Willow Davis, how many copies of Skyrim do you own? I just hit 5.
That's sick, dude. But yeah, I'm pretty close because between I definitely got the 360 and PC versions right away because I remember transferring my save from 360 to the PC so I could use mods. And that was 360, and then I definitely got it on another console and also the Switch. So that's 4, and I got the VR version, so that's 5. I think it's probably 5. I like
Big old goose egg.
I like Skyrim a lot. It's a fun game to just get lost in.
Yeah, I think people know this by now about me, but yeah, not much of a Western RPG guy.
Yeah. Is there one that's like most appealing to you?
Cyberpunk. We went over this last week.
Right. I don't fucking remember things you say.
I know, but that was the reason you beat Mike, so I thought you might remember that one.
I should have, yes.
JD Camp, will Honey Pop be streamed for B Week? Streamed? No. Played.
Yes. That's
all the time.
It'll be homework. Everyone will get sent home with that game. Don't worry.
As I can see in the chat, Rachel will be playing it on our behalf, no doubt.
What? Bees?
Honey.
Oh, honey. Sure. Okay. Yeah. It's spelled different, so I didn't put two and two together.
Well, the name of the dev is also Honey Pot, so they have a bee theme on there. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know the name of the dev? All right.
Yeah, dude. I bought 2 of their games. How would I not know by this point?
It's not exposing yourself if you just say it out loud with your whole chest.
That's right. I ain't gonna hide my porn.
No,
like
there's no shame here. Yeah.
Come on. English.
Yeah.
And then the last one here. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy, but from Colt Eastwood, Jeff.
Hi, Colt.
Are Xbox fans overreacting to Indiana Jones's small exclusivity window? And what do you think of Avowed being another first-party game at 30 FPS at launch? If you want really detailed info on this, Colt, we did talk a lot about it at the top of the show.
But yeah.
That being said,
I mean, I don't mind Avowed being 30 frames per second on at launch on Xbox consoles because I've made peace with that. I know that's where things are at this point in the generation. And I made peace with that almost like a year ago because when we started hearing about Starfield. As far as do I think Xbox fans are overacting Indiana Jones? Yes, because they've been trying to say this is kind of where they've been heading for a long time. But that doesn't mean I don't get it. I fully get it. I think it's a tantrum, but it's a tantrum I understand. It's similar to kinds of tantrums I've had when companies make decisions I don't like. But this is it. This is what's happening. This is the reality. I think it is rude to say this, but I'll say it now. Get used to it. This is just how it's going to be. And I think we had that conversation a second ago for one of these super chats. You can decide when it's your problem, when it's the company's problem, or you have to decide at a certain point when you're going to like recognize that some of this is the problem of like, how do I feel about the decisions this company's making, and when do I take ownership of that and change either my behavior or how much I care about it. I think at the end of the day, most people will get to play that game, and if it's very good, a lot of these anxieties will disappear. I think really what people are getting at is they're sick of these getting hyped for these games and then not delivering. If it just delivers without any caveats, I think a lot of these worries will just disappear and people will be happy that the game is awesome. So as with most kind of like puddle news situations, this isn't exactly that. It's not a concern about the game, but like a decision company. But it is similar in terms of people just want the game to be good and they're building up in their mind and they want it to like crush it when they're in their list war on Twitter. And really what that comes down to is they're getting excited about the game and they want it to deliver. And if it does that, again, I think all this stuff will just disappear.
Yeah, like the short version of that conversation we had is change is scary, but change is what you gotta get used to.
Yep,
right?
absolutely, yeah, right. And that, the reason I say this, I got used to it. Like I went through all this, but I did it quite some time ago during the last generation when I went to PC in like 2015 or whatever it was.
Yeah, if you couldn't get used to it in 2015 when Play Anywhere was announced, like I don't know what to tell you. Like,
right? Yeah, it was
the situation has changed, and this is the natural extension of that.
Yep.
Well, that is finally it for the super chats.
Shout out to everybody for all those super chats.
Yeah, hop on topics anytime we got people coming with the super chats. Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening and chatting.
Thanks for a good show. So I really appreciate everybody. All right, definitely. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come right back. We are gonna do our decision of the week. This week it's a game. So I have that.
It's a little game. We got a little game to squeeze in here.
I will get it set up. Be right back after this. All right.
Break.
Already streamed, already framed up for you. You just gotta pull it up on your end.
Turn that off. Hit this.
Look at it.
And then
I don't want what's.
What's up, Christian?
Wait, here? Totally innocent game. He. What the hell is happening?
I'm scared.
All right. Let's see here.
Everything's fine.
All right, there you are. And then let me get the game. Turn that on.
You can do right click and uncheck show non-video participants.
Yeah. That's what I always. Yes, that's what I do.
All right.
I've got it to the point on my Giant Bomb scene collections where if I do that for everything, I can just go to that scene collection for the number of people we have, and it all just fits naturally because I always have Discord set up the same way every time. So it's gotten pretty convenient. This show I kind of use the same scene over and over again. It's a little bit different, but it mostly works. All right.
The show is
There
I don't know.
go.
We'll do it as we go.
Oh shit! Hang on. There you go. Back to grid view. There we go. All right. Let's bring the show back in if everyone's ready. You guys good?
1 sec.
Let's go.
Yep, no problem.
Oh.
Yes.
Actually, no.
Boy.
Let's wait. Let's wait for it.
Does anyone know when Mike's coming back into the country?
There's a little something on my face.
Don't you feel it when he enters the United States of America dome? Oh shit, the Minotti is on the zone.
Yeah, I think I'll probably get a warning from the CIA. Yeah.
Yeah, the energy is like, oh shit. It's like when Goku feels like someone's key that's too powerful across the universe. It's like, holy shit.
All right, are we good?
We're as good as we're gonna get for this one, Jeff.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, what is okay? All right, I want to find out. All right,
let's go.
And we're back. And what does this mean? Totally innocent game. He. 6 he's in that he.
This is a little something that friend of the show Beef Hammer has cooked up for us, Jeff.
Is this why you wouldn't tell me what we're doing? Because it's gonna annoy me.
No, I've never done that.
All right, come on, just get on with that. I don't like
everybody. Welcome to Grubb Brain Academy.
Oh, fuck off.
Directed by Beef Hammer, executive produced by the Uncharted Wolf, and inspired by Captain Toad. Because you see, Jeff,
I think Beef or you did tell me at some point there was a game just for me.
Yep,
and I forgot that until this moment, and I feel like that's gonna be a theme in this one. My brain being bad.
Because you see, Jeff, inspired by Captain Toad. You forgot not only have you played Captain Toad, you reviewed Captain Toad, as video viewers can see from this review headline, Captain Toad, Treasure Trackers, Nintendo's cutest risk ever, that you published over on GamesBeat.
That's nonsense. That was just a bad headline.
Well, what we have here, Beef has devised a game where, Jeff, we have a nice list of games. You need to tell us if you reviewed them or not.
That's okay. All right. Fuck off. All right. How many Captain Toad situations could I possibly have? And I don't want to know, so I'm glad we're doing this game.
I guess we'll find out. So, Christian, if you could just keep track of how many points he gets on the board here tonight, I would really appreciate that. All right, Jeff, you ready for round one?
I guess.
All right. First, we're going to go down a curriculum. As I explained, Beef Hammer has collected several GamesBeat reviews from both Jeff Grubb and other authors in your vicinity. Jeff, you just have to remember, did you play and review it? We're going to have 2 rounds. Games Jeff probably remembers exist. And then round 2 is games Jeff maybe forgot about. So we're gonna start. Yes.
If I get them all right, this is going to be a very boring game. It's like, oh, he did remember. So that's the risk we're running. Now I know not much of a risk.
Not much of a risk at all. That's why we were confident about this one. So starting off, we are going to begin round one with the classic Balan Wonderworld. Jeff, did you review Balan Wonderworld?
Now, this one is an easy one because I do remember we made a big point of reviews editor Mike Minotti forced me to play this game so I could review it. Now, did I write a review? I think I did. Listen, if I played that game and didn't write a review,
we are starting so strong here.
If I play that game and didn't write a review, I gotta assess some things. I gotta look at some things in my life if that's what happened. But I'm going to say yes, I did actually write a review. I think I kind of remember giving it a really low. I think we were doing a 5-star system. I think I gave it a 1 out of 5. I think.
I hate that it took you that much to remember that you give it a 1 out of 5 because that was like your brand for a solid year and a half.
I agree. All right. Oh boy.
Jeff's headline was Balan Wonderworld, a prolonged exercise in frustration.
It's really long accurate. Too. Yes, God, it's a bad game. I can't wait to make someone else play that on Blight Club eventually. I almost forgot the name of Blight Club.
Oh, you gotta give it back to Mike at this point, right?
I think so.
He's the source of this. Yeah,
I think so. But
right.
although I think making Dan play it could also be funny. But yeah, we'll see.
True.
I don't want to be in a situation where Mike ends up kind of liking it because John Linneman says he likes it, and that's the great. A
lot of like retro people are like, "Yeah, this isn't like great, but it's fine."
Yeah, that's John's greatest character flaw, by the way, is that he kind of defends Balan Wonderworld. I'll say that to his face.
Love you, John. Game number 2. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay, I know I've never beaten this game, so I'm gonna have to say no, because that'd be crazy.
That'd be unethical.
It'd be. I think I know what that game is.
That was a joke, everybody. That was a joke.
For as much as I played it, yeah, I think I know what it is, but I don't think I reviewed it.
Okay. Correct. Mike Minotti reviewed Horizon Zero Dawn. That was when you guys were on the 100-point scale. He gave it an 87.
Okay, yeah.
Very specific.
Yeah, that's kind of high, Mike. Jesus.
Horizon Zero Dawn joins Uncharted and God of War as an iconic Sony franchise, which is hilarious considering how much you guys are haters of it.
I would be. Yeah. Does he still think it's an iconic franchise? He might say technically.
He's cooled off. He's more like me, where he's like, I think those games are fine.
Yes,
but,
he's not like one of
games.
the haters like the rest of Giant Bomb. Yeah.
Like the rest of it's like me and Mike. We're like, yeah, those games are fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways. Game number 3, The Witness, a game you've talked a lot about, but did you review it?
Okay. Wait.
Oh, Beef, this game is so good. Audio listeners, you have to check out the video for this one. Oh my God, that look was perfect.
This is tough. I did a lot of, I did guides for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was playing a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
I must have done a review. Now, that's not my final answer. Hold on.
We're holding.
It'd be I love this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember what I gave it. So it's that makes me think maybe I didn't, but oh man. Okay. Wait, what does it mean round 1, game 3? How many rounds are there?
Who knows, Jeff? Who could say?
Okay, what the hell? I'm gonna say no. I didn't review it. I'm gonna say I didn't review it because I can't remember what I gave it. Why would I just assume I'm gonna say I didn't review it? But boy, am I really not sure.
And the correct answer is Games Beats Mike Minotti reviewed The Witness.
Right. He reviewed it and he gave it a man. He can't appreciate real art.
He gave it a 70 out of 100.
It's because it made him feel stupid. Come on.
Yeah, how's it feel when Mike Minotti doesn't appreciate a game you like? When
it hurts my feelings. Yeah.
He said The Witness makes me question why I play hard games.
Yeah. Boy, I love that game. That's mostly because it made me feel very smart. So yeah.
All right. Next up. The Order 1886. All right, we're starting to go back there. We're starting to scratch the back of your brain a little bit.
Right. I feel good about this one because I've told this story a bunch of times on the podcast that I think I was gonna give it an 8 out of 10, and then I chickened out and gave it a 7 out of 10, and I always regretted that. And I want to go back and give it an 8 out of 10. So either I'm making that up, or I did review the game. So I'm going to say yes, I did review the game.
This is perfect. We're going to expose Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, I would love to. Honestly, that would rock my world if I didn't. Okay. All right, let's see.
Correct answer.
Okay.
You did review it, and you did give a
70 out of 100. Okay, I said 7 out of 10, but I think
70 out of 100. Yeah,
I think I was probably just thinking
evenly.
I never really used the whole 100-point scale. I was like 7 or 8. It's kind of.
And in 2015, you said it's the best game from 10 years ago.
That's true. That's I remember playing it and being like, this. If this came out when Resident Evil 4 came out, this would have been like amazing. Like people would have lost their mind for it. So yeah.
Okay. Game number 5, Peggle 2.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh no. This is going to be a straight up guess, no matter what. I really like Peggle 1, so I imagine I would probably be pretty excited for this. Maybe I would have been like, but that doesn't mean I necessarily saw it, because what would happen is I'd be like, oh, I'm excited for this. I want to get a review copy, and then get busy doing other things and never actually do the review. That would happen a lot. We didn't have a huge team at GameSpeed.
Right.
I'm gonna say I didn't. I'm gonna say I did review it. I did review it.
Final answer?
That's my final answer, but I'd say it is fully a guess.
And the correct answer is that you did review it.
Okay. All right. That was a flip of the coin.
80 out of 100 you gave. You said Xbox One's Peggle 2 is still the gaming equivalent of popping bubble wrap.
No, that's true, man.
That is true. That's a good
reviewer.
headline.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Game number 6 is Knack 2.
Huh.
Mark Cerny's own, his baby.
This one feels very much like, have I even played Knack 2?
Okay, good start.
No, I'm gonna say I didn't review this one.
No Knack.
And like to be clear, like with all this stuff, like I'm going on vibes that my brain is giving me. This is like not remembering anything concrete. This is not like, oh, cool. I can picture the headline or the score in my head. Some of them, yes, but for most of these, it's been just like, do I hear any echoes in my brain from remembering the review? Now, I still don't remember that for Captain Toad, and I feel the exact same way about this. So who knows? But I'm going to say no, I didn't review it.
You did not review it. Final answer. The correct answer is that you did not.
Okay. All right. I think I'm 100%
Anthony,
so
John,
far.
and Yellow did it.
You are 100% so far.
Okay.
80 out of 100. Anthony just said Knack 2 review. It rocks.
Jesus.
Anthony.
Oh, man. I love Anthony.
All right. Well, Beef says hopefully Jeff passed round 1 easily because it might get harder with round 2 games Jeff maybe forgot about. You have a perfect score so far.
I don't.
6 out of 6.
I don't like that I'm so known that it's like that he knows that those are the ones that would be easy for me to remember, and now he has the ones because I don't know if I know myself this well, so this is upsetting.
He's been around here like as long as I have, though.
Definitely.
So like he knows you pretty well too.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we'll see how well he knows you. Round 2. Game number 7 is Battleborn. Did you do Randy dirty, Jeff?
What he says? I can't believe you guys fucked me on this. To Game Informer. I should get that tweet printed out and framed.
That deserves to be framed. Yeah, right next to the Ikaruga.
Yeah. I don't think I reviewed this game. I don't know though. But I don't think I reviewed this game.
The correct answer is no, you did not.
Honestly, I'm surprised we had a review at all.
Vasquez did.
But hey, shouts to Serial. Okay.
Yeah, 70 out of 100. It's a fun blend of MOBA and shooter, but it buries its potential.
All right.
That sounds right for Battleborn.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
The Concord of its time.
Game number 8. Pyre.
I've never played Pyre. This one's easy. I don't remember playing Pyre, but I'm pretty sure I haven't played Pyre because I was a little bit more cooler on a lot of it's not Supermassive. Whatever.
Supergiant.
Thank you, Supergiant.
I get them confused too.
Until Hades. And I enjoyed Bastion, but I didn't finish Bastion. And so everything kind of between Bastion and Hades, I was like, oh yeah, no, I really like the way those games look, but I'm okay. I'll wait until people are like telling me I really have to play this. And there was always some like back and forth about all their games, and again until Hades. Now I'm like curious to go back and play all these games because based on how much I love Hades. But I'm gonna say no, didn't review Pyre.
Pretty confident in that, and you did not.
Okay.
Stephanie Chan did.
That's the basketball one,
Yes.
Spirit
Correct.
Basketball. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
85 out of 100. RPG Dodgeball is as stylish as it sounds.
Okay, interesting.
All right. Game number 9, Codename Steam.
Oh man, okay.
The
So
Nintendo 3DS.
one of my first E3s, I got invited to like a special Nintendo room for an announcement, and it was this. I was like so excited, and I had no idea what it was going to be. And then, frankly, when they showed this, and it was like Intelligent Systems has a new strategy game. As someone who really liked Advance Wars and was into Fire Emblem at that time, even I was like, yeah, okay, this sounds great.
Seems like a you game.
Now I know I played it. I know I didn't like it, but did I actually go through with a review? I don't know. I don't know. Like I keep talking myself back and forth right now in my head, where it's like, yeah, I kind of like remember forming that opinion that I don't like it. But did I do that and then actually write it down? And I think I remember like comparing it in my head to like Paper Mario Sticker Star in terms of like being really disappointed with it. But I don't remember like finalizing a score for this game, which I usually do with the like these guys. That's like the point that like I remember the most clearly, and I don't have that at all for this. But
your answer is?
I think my answer is still gonna be. I think it's still gonna be yes.
You think you did review?
I think I did review it, but that is like kind of based on, again, just some vibes in my brain, and that's it.
Okay. Well, Jeff, you did review it.
Oh, damn.
And you did not like it. 49 out of 100.
Damn. All right. That's a lower score than I gave Sticker Star. I wonder if I was like, man, I should have given Sticker Star a lower score.
You said Codename Steam is better, but still disappointing with fast forward. With the fast forward feature, I assume.
I think they were like at the last minute added a fast forward feature.
Okay.
Or maybe I wait. This honestly, I could have reviewed it after like a first update. I did that a couple times for some games where it's like I hated them enough to I was like didn't want to keep playing them, but then they changed something. I'm like, oh, I'll try it. This game, the biggest problem with this game is it doesn't give you any of the information you need to make informed decisions that are strategically interesting. And so many games learned either from this or from other stuff that actually makes for much better strategic turn-based decisions. So stuff like Into the Breach is so good compared to something like this where it's like you're guessing and it feels like random stuff is happening all the time.
Yeah, it did feel a little more action-y than your average like XCOM like.
Right.
So I can see why you
and then it was slow until the fast forward button, and that was unbearable for me.
True. Yeah, it was like a third-person shooter but turn-based. So
yes.
I can see why you would come to that conclusion.
Yep.
Okay. Game number 10 is Pushmo World.
Oh, come on. There's so many, like there's Pushmo, there's other ones that I definitely played. Crashmo. I played a lot of these, and I liked them a lot. So I could see myself being like, well, I like Nintendo. I like to play my Wii U. Here's the reason to play. This is the Wii U one, I think.
Think so.
And so I might have like still been into this enough that it would have made me do a review, but I don't remember it. I'm gonna say no, but I think this. I feel like this one could get me. I think this is okay. I'm gonna say no, but I'm super worried about this one. That's my final answer.
Correct answer is no. Mike Minotti.
Mike Minotti? I don't think Mike Minotti remembers this. Don't tell him anyway. I want to ask him if he remembers this because I think he always talks about not playing Pushmo. So Oh man, I want to ask him real bad. But
no,
okay.
be cool. Don't one say anything.
Yeah, come
we'll
on.
find out
Don't
later.
say anything. We
Don't
can
say
do the
anything,
same
anybody.
to him.
He gave it a 75 out of 100 and said it's almost too cute for its own good, which that's a Mike Gennady headline.
Man, okay. Shwoo. I was really worried about that one because I wonder, I probably reviewed like Pushmo and maybe Crashmo, and then I kind of forget about it after that, but I was wondering if I still had some momentum into this game, but maybe not. Guess not.
Game number 11, Telltale's Game of Thrones.
I played these games. I know that. Or these episodes this season. And I liked it. I remember liking it. I remember liking it more than most people. And it was always the thing where I the Telltale style, I didn't think about it much when I wasn't playing the games, but then when I was, I remembered what I like about them, which was always the game exists in your head, and you know the game is going to work out the way it's going to work out. But the fact that it makes you feel like you are making very huge decisions with a lot of gravity, that feeling is real, and that's what matters. And I thought even this game did that well. And I think because I have those opinions about it, that sounds like that process right there. It's like what I'm thinking when I'm writing a review.
Okay.
So I think I probably must have written a review, but I don't remember exactly. I don't remember what I gave it. I don't remember if I just did that for the first episode or for all episodes. I have no idea, but I'm gonna say I did review it based on those vibes.
Okay, going with yes. And the correct answer. You did.
Okay. Wow, I give it a 94. Shit.
A 94 out of 100. You said Telltale's Game of Thrones season finale is worth the long wait.
Okay.
So you at least reviewed part of it.
Yes, that sounds right. I don't know. I bet that's actually not that bad to go back to. I
thought you hated Game of Thrones.
I don't hate Well, I like the first season of Game of Thrones, the TV show, a lot, and then I think it's pretty mid after that. But I was into it enough to be into this, and I like the books, and I like Telltale games. At least I did.
All right.
Okay. Game number 12, Pokemon Picross.
I would have reviewed probably a Picross game here or there out of like just loving so much of Picross and then Picross 3D. Would I have been down bad enough to do a Pokemon Picross?
Wow.
Well, I just like that's not. I mean, I don't know. Was I that horny for Picross? I don't know. I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say no, you did not review this one.
I'm gonna say no, I did not review this one.
Is the reasoning there because Pokemon?
Because I'm not like, there's no memory coming back at all. And again, that the whole joke here would be that, well, maybe for some of these you wouldn't have that, and yet you did review it. The reason is I have zero memory at all.
Zero memory of this game.
Of playing this game, let alone reviewing it.
Okay. Well, Jeff, you did review Pokemon Picross!
No!
Beef got you!
No!
79 out of 100. You said it's two great flavors that taste only okay together.
What the fuck? I could not pick this game out of a lineup other than the fact that it would have Pokemon and Picross in it. But no way. I just don't remember playing it at all.
I would have assumed you were horny enough for Picross to review it.
That's what I mean. Honestly, that's the only explanation. Is that like I was just like so ready for the next Picross, and knowing that Pokemon was big, it would justify spending the time on the review.
Well, it took us a dozen, but B finally got you with one of these.
Yep.
Man, I was like,
and you only need one to destroy his soul. So
yeah, right. Honestly, that's right. Because I was like feeling pretty good. I'm like, yeah, no, most of these things are still in there somewhere, and like they are, they're not fully formed memories, but they are like I can gesture towards the feeling of playing the game or writing the review,
right.
And the fact that like neither of those exist for this, it's like, oh, some of that stuff has fully been flushed.
Well, I know how you really feel about Pokemon now. That's good. Did you ever play Twilight Princess Picross, the free My Nintendo one?
I don't remember that either.
Okay.
A lot of these Picross games actually are.
You probably reviewed it then.
They do wash together at a certain point. I remember, the Nintendo Picross, the Picross 3D, maybe Picross 3D 2, and then the Konami Picross like clone for mobile, and then everything in between is just like a Picross soup.
Picross soup.
Yeah, hey, I'll play that. That
sounds
too.
terrible.
Yeah, no, give it to me.
Game number 13 is Agents of Mayhem, Jeff.
Now, I was super into the Saints Row games, 3 and 4, specifically. And I remember having an affinity for the developer because of that. And I thought their writing was really good in Saints Row 4. So I think I had like hopes going into this game. But it also feels like one where I would have been so disheartened by it that I stopped playing it and then didn't. I remember playing a lot of it. And I mean, I guess so I'm like going back and forth now. Now I'm going to say like, I remember playing a lot of it to the point where it's like, well, I might as well just keep playing it so I can write a review.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really tough one. I'm gonna say I didn't write a review, but that is no review. But I could have. There's a good chance I did. I don't know.
Well, Jeff, you didn't. Well, Dan appears. Games Beat. Did not review it, but Giant Bomb's Dan Reichert gave it 2 out of 5 stars.
Oh, true. Okay. All right, man. That one was going to really get me too. Okay, good. That's about right. 2 out of 5. Just such a disappointment.
Yeah. Dan said it may share genre and universe with Saints Row, but Agents of Mayhem is a lifeless husk of Volition's prior work. Dan's a good writer.
Oh, Dan crushes it. Yes, absolutely. His the review he did a couple months back was really good.
And he writes fast.
Yep.
Also.
Yeah. Well, a lot of experience. All right, that will do it. Beef Hammer's predictions going into this. Jeff will correctly guess on. I love that he only did some of these. Balan, Horizon Zero Dawn, Order, 1886, Knack 2, Battleborn, Pyre, Codename Steam, Pushmo World, and Agents of Mayhem. He said you will mess up and feel shame for The Witness, Peggle 2, Game of Thrones, all which I think you felt a little iffy on, and Pokemon Picross. So he did successfully call that he would get you with that one.
That was a targeted strike from orbit for sure. That one, that was a good pick right there.
And the reason we can't tell Mike about Pushmo, everybody, is because the bonus Beef predicts that Mike completely forgot they played Pushmo World.
I really think he does. If we just bring it up and say, hey, do you remember? He'll probably be like, why are you asking me? So I don't know how we do this.
Just text him. Just text him.
Well, if I just text him, he's going to be like, why are you asking me about Pushmo World? I must have reviewed it. So.
Well, just have you ever played Pushmo World? You ever play that?
Have you ever played a Pushmo? Have you ever played a Pushmo?
No, what if we do this? What if we fake a mailbag and we say somebody like, oh, I'm doing this.
Oh, I have like a quiz for you. Like, what'd you give, or did you review these games and what'd you give them? And we just do a couple.
It's just like I'm playing these old games. I love this type of games, and then we.
We with the
Pushmo.
Okay.
Plant.
Yeah, we'll do a mailbag plant. I love it. Okay, thank you, Christian. You're in charge of that.
Well, congratulations, Jeff. You got 12 out of 13 right.
I got a mostly functioning brain. At least it's close enough. All right, I can get by.
Close enough.
It's a high functioning at least. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing that, Beef. I appreciate it. Thanks for hosting
that was awesome. Shout outs to the person at the airport who recognized your face on Beef's laptop while he was working on this before a flight. They got to talking, and when Beef was like, do you know the username Beef Hammer by any chance? And they did, so congrats to Beef Hammer for getting internet famous in the middle of an airport.
Yeah, recognize Beef. That's incredible. That's a lot of fun. It was strange to get, like, I go around my town all the time, and I've not been recognized. I don't think in Ohio, maybe once before, but then twice in one weekend when I went to Borderlands, and then we went to a hot air balloon festival, and I got recognized once at each of those, and that was very strange. So, I'm glad that is now spreading out to Beef Hammer as well. You've earned it.
Definitely. Thanks again, Beef. That was great.
All right. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. But I think we're going to take one more break, and then we're going to talk about what we've been playing right after this.
All right. That's a good break.
All right. If we just talk about what we've been playing, that's enough breaks, right, Christian? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it's a long episode, so let's just talk about that and get out of here.
Sounds good. All right, let's get back into it.
Right.
And we're back. We have some more Super Chats. We'll get to those in a second. Let's hit what we've been playing. Let's start with you, Shawn.
Well, let's see. So first of all, the Pokemon World Championships were over the weekend. So I was just in Pokemon mood, played more than I even do of the train car game live. Just because, I was watching it on my TV and I was playing it on my phone. That went well together. They did a community day in Pokemon Go, so I could get some Beldums. If you don't know, do you know the Pokemon Metagross by any chance, Jeff? He's in Smash, so I figure maybe you know him. Like
Meta what?
Big blue metal guy with like 4 legs. I don't know.
Not ringing a bell, no.
Well, anyways, I really wanted to get a shiny of that because metal Pokemon, they made him gold and silver. So I thought that looked really nice. So yeah, went on a nice 6-mile walk. Pokemon Go continues to be just my excuse to walk even more than I already do and get some exercise in. But really the game by the way, World's confirmed for Anaheim next year, San Francisco a year after that. Like, I'm gonna try to get out both of those because then me and Jan can just like make a vacation and maybe some video stuff out of that.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Fun. Okay, very cool. Go over to Anaheim, like meet up with Bailey, go like do a little traveling, go to Disneyland or something like that. I think that'd be a fun time. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, the main game I've been playing since this was also going on the past week was the 2XKO Alpha Lab. I know I've talked about it a bit, but
Christian's been playing that as well. And I know you guys have been, it seems like everyone's loving it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Christian, I've talked about it before, so I know what I can say, but I'm curious how you feel about it.
I love this game. This is going to be, I feel like, I always have 2 fighting games going on at the same times. And last time was Fighters and Street Fighter 5, then it was Guilty Gear Strive and Street Fighter 5, and I think this is gonna be my second one when it comes out. It's gonna be 2SKO and Street Fighter 6.
Nice.
So, like, I just love it. It's so easy to get in, to get people who doesn't play fighting games to like team up and like just teach them. It has that thing that has auto combos, and you just like let them just mash buttons, and everybody's having a good time. You gotta your friend you put your friends on the fighting game grind, so that is awesome. I love it.
I'm curious. Did you play like entirely solo? Did you do any duos, anything like that?
No, I do a lot. I did do a lot with my homies at New Game Plus. They got me in because I didn't got a code, so thanks to them. Shout out to them. So yeah, I do it with them, and I do it with Guillermo, who you'll see on the Giant Bomb couch, and he doesn't have that fighting game background, so we were doing like the auto combo fuse, and we were having a good time too with him. And then I play with Chopper, with Jeremias, who he has a fighting game background. He goes to Evo and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I met him at Evo this year.
Yeah, and with him we did like a different fuse, and we threw up a little bit of magic there, like we're trying to do stuff, making stuff happen. We didn't have a lot of time because we entered really late on the alpha, but we got stuff going. Even without knowing anything, you can do like the easy combos, and then timing the assist, and just talking through Discord, you can time it really well, and it kind of works really good. And I'm like, holy shit, this is the shit. I'm gonna get so many people into fighting games with this shit. Is
it the kind of thing where this mode or this way of doing 2-on-2 is going to be in every fighting game going forward, or a lot of fighting games going forward, or is this something that is like you kind of have to build the game for it?
Yeah, definitely.
The game on.
Yeah. In any, I think if this takes off, which it feels good, I'm feeling good, but I think it will. I think any tag fighters at the very least going forward will have this, because this is something that weirdly hasn't been in many of them, if any in the past like 10 years. I can't think of a like weirdly guilty gear just got a mode, but Street Fighter Cross Tekken I guess was the last game to do something like this. Yeah, but generally it's not in there. And so it's just, any game that's designed around a tag fighter, a Marvel versus Capcom style game for people who don't know,
right.
I think it will have something like this. Since I had more time to play it, I did play some solos. Up till then, I had only played duos. Solos, I actually don't like nearly as much, I think, because it is kind of... as much as I love Marvel versus Capcom, I feel like other tag fighters haven't really done it for me for whatever reason. There's just something about like the sauce kind of lacking there. Just don't feel quite right to me. Maybe it's just because I love Marvel versus Capcom specifically so much. But when I played solos, I was like, this is, it's a tag fighter. Like it is what it is. Maybe it's just because the magic of duos is there. It's like one of those things where like once you know it, you can't go back because... I played even more duos with my homie, my FGC buddy, and one of the Call of Duty normies that I talk about. Like that's my boy, that's my homie right there. We play fighting games together all the time, and so we played 2XKO together, and it was magic. Like getting on a Discord call and like just talking to each other, like Christian said, and just like setting up for a combo, and then being like, okay, get ready, okay, do it now, and stuff like that, and being able to actively both have control over your character, so that way like you can like Sean Rivera said when I talked to him at Evo, he was like, we want to bring that experience of other Riot games of working with your team, working with your partner, whatever it may be, into a fighting game. And so that you can have moments of like, oh, my partner like messed up, but I can come in because I'm playing a tank and I can like defend him. Like I was playing Braum the whole time, this big dude with shield. So I could like defend him. I could like put a hit of armor on him by pulling my shield out as an assist and having control over that while he still has control over his character and us getting better at the game naturally. It just feels really good. And I'm really sad that the alpha is gone away now, and I'm just really excited for the full game to come out now, or the beta or whatever it may be down the road, because it was a blast, and I can't wait to share this with more people.
It seems like the kind of thing we can have a lot of fun with on Giant Bomb. So
once this fully comes out and everyone getting in there, we are absolutely gonna have like maybe like you and Mike on a team and me and Jan on a team going at it and stuff like that.
Yep, I would love that. All right,
and like Christian mentioned, it's easy to get in because you can the fuse he mentioned. You can basically choose a like kind of call it a buff before you go into battle, but you can optionally basically give up your buff in exchange for something called the pulse fuse, where it adds auto combos into the game. They're not in there by default, like button mashy auto combos. There's other easy combos to do, but no like button mashy combos. But you can optionally give up your fuse to add auto combos to the game. So that's like, if you're unfamiliar, like if you and Mike were on a team playing against some of us, you could do that. So I like that there's an accessibility option there that does have a trade-off. It makes sense. It's good.
But also moving away from the pulse fuse that has the auto combo is really easy, because this game is it has the
chain combos.
The beat combo. It's not a reverse beat. It's like you go from light to medium to heavy, and then a special, and you can just learn that combo and you're set up. And then once you have that combo, now that you don't use the pulse, the auto combo, you can like use other fuses like a double tag. You can use another fuse that lets you use double super at the end. Like it lets you change the supers of the two characters. So
your play style or even your team's play style will not match that of another team necessarily, which is very cool.
It has a really nice an easy skill floor, but the skill ceiling is pretty high. Once you get into
so when you go from like starting with auto combos, then going up to the chain combos that are just pressing the buttons in order, all the way up to like Marvel style combos of like 40 hits or whatever. Like there is a clear path of progression for you to reach for. That's always very good for a fighting game to have.
That sounds really satisfying.
Yeah,
it is.
That you can teach your friends because you're playing in 2v2 or like
that's a good point. Like, because you can just be like in tune with one another, and what they're asking of you, and they're like, try this, and it's like, okay, all right, I could see that being very good for like mentorship for people.
It's exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited
Same.
to see the game, and exciting to see like also the tournaments that are gonna come out of this. I personally want to see 2v2 become like normal, or like free,
Yeah.
like 2v1.
Jeff, if
or
you
like
didn't know,
that
yeah,
kind of
you
stuff.
can do 2 or 1 people on a
Right.
team, no matter what. So you can do 2v1.
I think I've heard that. I'm like, how is that going to be common? Is that like, is it going to be a situation where at Evo there's going to be a two team versus a one team?
So I
want
think
that happens super hard.
I think everyone involved knows what everyone wants, and I think it's going to be
Hell
complete
yeah.
open
I
bracket,
hope it's
single
a-
bracket,
That
and we're
fucking
gonna have
rules.
Because think about it, if you get good, you can just roll everyone and take all the cash.
Right.
But are you going to risk getting good with your buddy, extra pair of hands? But then you got to like share the pot. You got to like, there's going to be drama if top players team up and then something goes wrong. Like, this is going to turn into wrestling, dude. It's going to be great.
Oh,
I
okay, that
can't
sounds
wait.
fantastic. I cannot wait for that.
Maybe you have two like newcomers against like one old guy.
Yeah, dude,
like,
imagine like an exhibition where it's like Sonic Fox versus like Justin and Daigo or something like that. It's gonna be,
oh my God.
it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
that is like a spectacle too. So like they can like make
Right.
like not pay-per-view, but like a big event.
Like
where,
a show on it.
get
Yeah, I can
sponsored
totally
and
see
stuff.
that being like an exhibition at Evo or something where they do stuff like that.
Okay, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think this game sounds like it is going to pop off. It is going to be very huge. So
Yep.
very exciting. Anything else you've been playing?
Not really. It's mostly been just the stuff that I mentioned there.
I'm still playing a lot of stuff I just can't talk about yet. That stuff should break here pretty soon, next week for a lot of it. On content, been playing a lot of stuff, smaller things. That Pilgrim game was pretty fun. Kind of a Lethal Company with a sort of evil witchcraft vibe to it.
Like gothic horror.
Yeah. And we lost Nikki, and we were able to bring them back by summoning them with a pentagram and a mask and flame and stuff. It was
Like which you have to draw with.
you have to actually draw the pentagram. It's really neat. And then
Great
Murky
stuff.
Divers is similar. It's another Lethal Company thing, but you're diving underwater. I thought the enemy design was really good because they're very scary, and the way that they swim at you is kind of very unsettling.
I heard they suck you.
And they'll suck and swallow you. And then I love proximity chat. I really do. I think it's so fun.
Just one of the greatest inventions in gaming.
It's really good. And it sounded great in Pilgrim. The echo of like being in a room with someone else sounded really, really good. And then I like the way, like, it's not maybe not great for stream, but I like the way it sounds in Murky Divers of coming through a crackly radio, like you're in the abyss or something like that. So I continue to like those games. There's a handful of other stuff I played throughout this week on the site, but the thing I'm playing the most I can talk about, I talked about a bunch on Nintendogs, is Disco Elysium. Continue to play that. I continue to like figure out more how the game works, and like man, I feel like I'm trying everything and there's nothing to do, and I have all these things on this list, and it's like, oh, I just had to wait till Wednesday when I could open up another part of the map, and now I'm like discovering a million new things and learning that my character, like how he ended up in the situation in the first place, and maybe why he doesn't have his memory, things like that. So getting into that flow and just continuing to really, really liking that game. But I continue, like, I want to keep playing that, but I'm going to have to play some of these other ones, and I'm afraid of falling off again, because it's a pretty long game, all things considered. And as deep as I am into it, I think I'm still pretty far away from actually completing it. But
do you do like the game before bed, like me and Mike do?
Yeah. That's usually because I don't have a choice. Like, if I don't do that, I'm not playing any games really, because the kids take up so much of the day.
Well, I mean, like while you're like laying in bed or something.
Yeah, I'm laying in bed and
for
playing
30 minutes.
This is the kind of I will always have like the Steam Deck or the Switch. And right now it's the Steam Deck, and every time I pick it up, it is I'm turning it on. This pops back up, and I'm like, even when I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get the Steam Deck and play something else, maybe something for work, what I end up doing is just continuing to play this. So that helps to a certain extent, but I'm gonna have to use that time slot for some of these other games here pretty soon, especially Star Wars Outlaws. I think that game's pretty big. As I'm playing it, I can't say anything else about it, but I'm like, oh yeah, I should be spending more time on that than anything else right now, because I think that'll be worth talking about.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
All right. About Tarkov, there's a wipe that happens, and they added something cool. They added a thing called marathon missions, I don't know if it's related to the other marathon extraction shooter, but
Probably not.
the thing the thing is like, in Tarkov you pick where you go, and like there's different maps, and in different maps you have different loot and different missions happens. And this marathon thing, they drop you in the first map, and then you had to walk through all the maps without coming back to the base. And this game is fairly tense. And this shit makes it like 1,000 times more tense because, like, this is a long ass mission that you have to come back and finish.
That sounds like my shit.
Now is if you're gonna start playing Tarkov, now is the time because the wipe shots happen, and that's when everybody's
you got nothing else to
gets
do.
reset.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm like looking. I'm like, I was like thinking of all the games I can't talk about, and I forgot 2 of them. Like, there's 2 more on top of those other ones I was thinking of. So. There's a lot happening right now. One of them is like, no one else cares about this except for me. Actually, 2 of them are like that. So I could make some time. But that's the kind of thing, Christian, if I was going to play that, I would have to be like, let's get the team together and do it on the site. And right now with everyone traveling, it's hard to do. But maybe when we get back from PAX.
6 months, the next wipe.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
There's always going to be another wipe. Don't worry about it.
We'll plan ahead for it. Absolutely. All right. Let's hit these super chats and let's get the hell out of here. Sean, what do we have?
Let me go through these here. Last ones. Uriel Delgado says, sucks that Indy is not exclusive, but it is what it is. I hope they get a handle on that situation. I have both consoles, but come on, man.
I think they have a handle on it. It's just not the handle you want them to have. It's that simple.
Yeah. This is the way it is. Hey, you're still getting the game.
Yep.
I don't know. At least personally, I don't like exclusives because I want everyone playing every game. So.
Yep, and
that's how I feel.
It sounds like it's going to be a good game, so at least that could be the case.
Just enjoy the game.
Yep.
Willow Davis says, Jeff, did you review Super Mario 3D World?
I think I reviewed it twice. I definitely reviewed it the first time because I gave it a 10 out of 10, and I remember Mike being a little stick in the mud about that because I think I said it like at that time when I played it, and a big part of this was I played it through myself and loved it. And then immediately started playing it with Stephanie at the time, and we were playing through it cooperatively and having a great time. And I was like, I think this might be the best 3D Mario, and he hated me saying that. But it's and then when they released it on Switch and kind of sped it up a little bit, that helped. He was like, this is one of the best 3D Marios. So he finally mostly came around.
Yeah, he knows all about those cat shines and everything.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah, he reviewed it the second time. That's right. Okay, so yeah, I didn't do it twice. Yep.
Chuktowski, just need you to know I was listening to Goofy Movies Eye to Eye on YouTube, and it auto-played this stream right after.
Yeah,
can't imagine why.
Yeah, the Disney vibes that Mike's imbued in here is just sort of taken over the algorithm for sure. Howdy, Chuktowski. Thanks, man.
Hey, Chuck. And then last one here from Philip Fortuna. Thanking Grubb and company for the Blight Club backlog. It's a good watch while having to feed my 1-month-old in the middle of the night. What game to play when sleep deprived, taking care of a baby?
I like something that is very stimulating, but not story rich, as Steam would say in its tags. So I go with like a Soulsborne or something like that. Obviously, there's a lot of story in there in terms of the lore, but you don't have to engage with it if you don't want to. So I got Sekiro is what I played when we had Addie as a baby, and that was a really good fit. I really enjoyed that. So maybe something along those lines. Or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is always a good choice.
Didn't you play most of Breath of the Wild while taking care of one of the kids?
Yeah, I mean, when Emmy was born, I got she was born in January, and it was coming out in March, but in February I got it early for review. And so, so she was about 1 month old, and I played through all Breath of the Wild with her, just like laying there in our little, like we had a little baby tent, and I would lay down with her, and she would look up at it and stuff. So, yeah, it was good times.
That rules.
Yeah, it was
cool. All right, that's going to do it, Jeff.
All right, fantastic. I'm going to hit the button because this one takes a second. There we go. All right, we're going to get out of here. I think Mike should be back for Nintendogs next week. I think
so.
He's still going. He's not coming back from Gamescom right away. He's going to London. So, but I think that's the weekend. So I think he'll be back after the weekend. But regardless, we'll have a Nintendogs next week. We should have it decides. Then Friday, I'm leaving. I'm going to PAX. So
that's right.
So yeah, but we should have both episodes next week. That should be all good. Obviously, gonna have a lot of stuff on Giant Bomb. Tomorrow, Sean and I, with some friends, we're gonna be playing some Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We're gonna do a BCR where we're gonna do a draft. A draft or a Mount Rushmore. I think I said a draft. A draft.
You said a draft. I think we can do a draft.
I think we can do a draft of video game villains or monsters, like video game horror villains and monsters. So
because it's August.
Yeah, it's August. That'll be a lot of fun. But other than that, Sean, what do you have going on? Where can people find you on the internet and all that good stuff?
Well, as always, you can find me on twitter.com as @TurboSean_. And you can find me mostly just doing stuff on Giant Bomb a lot. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, busy week. You know, Jan's out with the crew over doing Gamescom stuff. So they've, again, been putting out great stuff. You want to see what Mike's up to? Go check that out. Check out the Bombcast. Check out a Voicemail Dump Truck because he's on both of those. And then, yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Looking forward to tomorrow. I think it'll be a fun Friday close out the week here. But otherwise, yeah, still haven't had as much time because I have had to cover for Jam, but I am still going to work on that Evo video that I have like half done right now. So hopefully that'll come out sometime soon because I want to get that out there. There was some fun stuff in there, some fun mini interviews that I did. So yeah, can't wait for everyone to check that out.
Yep, that'll be great. Looking forward to that. Any plans for the weekend? You gotta do anything fun?
Sleep.
Yeah.
Play some games. Like I mentioned, if the Mecha Break beta's still going, I'll probably check that out.
Yeah, I think this will be a weekend where I'm like, I'll do some cleaning, do some stuff around the house, and then hopefully get more time for Star Wars Outlaws to be ready for when that game comes out.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Take care of yourself. Goodbye. Catch you next time. People are beating it right now. Oh, you beat it.
I beat it.
A lot of chords going into slots.